Yeah.
Okay. Since I've already got it on my mind, I think we should go ahead and say that like Tywin um is sort of like the definition of like a mediocre fighter in this world
Really?
because it is stated that like the dude has fought and he was good enough to like keep himself alive in a battle.
Hmm.
Um, but they say that there's literally like they never felt the need to keep record of his ability. Um, because he fought in some wars when he was a teenager, but like I said, no one ever thought his ability was like anything of note. Um, Pretty much everyone agrees that he's as good as like a rich lord should be,
Hmm.
but Tywin very much prefers to stay in like on like the tactical side of war. And
Yeah, he would always stay in the reserve.
right. And there's a fan theory that like the reason he takes so much to strategy over like fighting, the actual fighting, is because like he doesn't have the confidence in his ability to actually like go out there and fight face to face, and he
Well,
knows that
I think that's a bit
if
silly. Obviously, there's like a chance that you could just be caught by a stray arrow and die. So I think Tywin stays in the reserve specifically because he doesn't want to accidentally die on the front lines. I mean, obviously, there's
right,
definitely
right,
better fighters than Tywin as well, but just being on the front lines is too risky for a commander, anyways. I mean, yeah, even commanders who would lead their armies would never be in the vanguard. That's just ridiculous.
right. So it's like if we were to put someone as just like a baseline, like this person is the average, I think Tywin would be a good fit for
Yeah.
it.
So let's just establish. Obviously, we all know the strongest in the verse is Sir Arthur Dane. This is just commonly known. It was stated by George R. R. Martin himself that the only person who's his equal is his name escapes me. Clay.
I'm trying to think of who you're thinking about
This is
because I haven't heard that unless like
there's only one
maybe
person
like
who's his equal, and that's only if he doesn't have the sword of the morning. It's
might maybe like who would that be?
oh
It
my
wouldn't it
god.
wouldn't be Barristan Selmy, would it?
Yes, it is Barristan Selmy.
Is it
Thank
Selmy?
you.
Okay.
Yeah, he stated if Barristan Selmy and Arthur Dane fought with like only just normal swords, like if Arthur Dane didn't have the sword of the morning, it would be like a 50-50 between them in their primes. But like besides that, they beat everybody else. So we
Right.
know for a fact Arthur Dane is the best in the verse, right? Um,
Right, period.
and as we've stated, we do like Tywin in the middle here. But I was thinking Robb Stark in the middle, so that's kind of tricky. Does this list
I
have
think
Tyrion?
I mean I think Rob Stark would definitely beat Tywin in a 1v1.
Really? That's interesting
Yeah.
because Robb Stark. Ah, but it is show Robb Stark. But show Robb Stark has less feats, if anything.
We don't see Rob Stark fight. We know that whenever it comes to his battles, he is active in them.
Yes, of course.
Right, because if you go back to the Whispering Woods, I mean, like he led the vanguard into that battle.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, like I think going off of that, it's not really much to go off of because that's all the show gives us. Let me see if the book actually says anything about it.
Because Tywin is much more experienced, although you could give Robb an advantage due to his, like, I guess, youthful athleticism. Also,
Right,
where the
he's
fuck
younger, he's
is.
hot-blooded, he's
Uh,
ready.
oh, so we have our worst in the verse as well.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tyrion would whoop Samwell's ass.
I don't even think Tyrion's on this list, unfortunately. That was,
He's
like, the
not,
weakness of this list,
unfortunately.
yeah. It's Samwell versus Tyrion. That would be a fun debate.
Let's see. So, okay, so here we go. So yeah, Rob trained with Roderick. Um, Rob never actually lost a battle himself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when he was in the war, like commanding, like in flesh. So
Wait, I just noticed something. Oh wait, there it is. Never mind. But yeah, so obviously like Robb is a very skilled warrior. It was stated that Jon Snow is a better swordsman, and oh boy, does he become a great swordsman later in the series. But this is obviously only in season one. We don't know how much better Robb became in like seasons two and three. Obviously, he's a very successful warrior. Obviously, he's a very confident warrior. He's obviously a great jouster, as was stated in season one.
Right. Like
Uh,
I would say Rob is definitely competent. He's nothing like of a legendary status,
mhm.
that like people in the higher tiers would be, but he's like if he was an attorney filled with just like random people, there would always be a good chance he would win.
Yeah. I mean, even with like a tourney with like random people, there'd be probably a decent chance that Tywin would win as well.
Well, I mean, like that's the thing. I feel like in Rob's case, it would be a lot more in his favor than it
Mhm.
would be with Tywin.
Yeah. By the way, we're debating skill here, not who would win in a fight necessarily. Although, like, who would win in a fight is a like very important aspect of this. But for an example, if somebody has like an equipment advantage, like let's say we're rating Khal Drogo, right?
Right.
We're talking about Khal Drogo's skill in battle, not necessarily like his not necessarily like if we were to pit him against somebody like uh Jorah Mormont, like you could say like, well, Jorah Mormont has armor, but we're not really talking about that because
Right. No. No.
it's not really like an aspect of it. We're just looking at like the ability of the character, how they've like developed themselves. So if we were to rate Rob, you are confident that he would be above Tywin, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
And obviously he wouldn't be an S tier because I feel like an example of like an S tier character here would probably be somebody like the Mountain. Because the
Right.
Mountain doesn't really like lose ever in the show, and all he does is kill like really, really strong people, right? I mean,
Yes.
obviously he
Yeah.
was losing to Oberyn before Oberyn got cocky, and he did technically draw with Sandor Clegane, but like uh, Sandor Clegane only drew because the Mountain didn't have like any of his faculties and sort of just let Sandor do whatever he wanted.
Right.
So that's that, I suppose. So I am gonna quickly put the Mountain in like S tier right here, just to like differentiate like what we're talking about here.
Hmm. Now, if you go back to season one, there was that short little brawl they did have, and I feel like the show was trying to imply that they were pretty much on equal standing. Um, at least when the Mountain was a human and he wasn't a stupid zombie monster thing.
Yeah, I think Sandor Clegane, when you had him as like a normal human, is like basically just like a. Um, I do not think that Sandor Clegane can be like the Mountain, like prime for prime. Personally, I know this picture shows
Hmm.
like zombie Sandor or not Sandor. I mean the Mountain, but like
Right.
uh, I think that like when we're talking about his prime, we're obviously talking about him when he was a human, and like him
Right.
as a human is like I think he's like pretty top of the verse in my opinion. I think a lot of people
Then
underestimate him. I've seen some weird ABC logic, uh, where people would say that oh my god, what is her name? Clay, you know who I'm talking about. Help me.
you aren't giving me any details.
Look at my screen
Brienne.
share.
Brienne.
Brienne, yeah. People would say that Brienne would beat the Mountain because she beat Sandor and Tyrell, the Knight of Flowers, whatever. And therefore, and like since both of them technically kind of beat Gregor, because like Sandor tied with Gregor in like their final fight, and like the Knight of Flowers beat him in jousting, although obviously that was like basically cheating. That she
Right.
would beat Gregor, and I'm just like, no, it's not. No.
The fight that okay, I'm not gonna devolve this into a 1v1 status, but
Of
like,
course.
right.
Like, we also have to factor in the fact that she was armed with Valyrian steel when she fought Sandor, and Sandor had just like a normal ass sword. So
Yeah.
we have to take in like a lot of factors. So, like, if we're talking about like pure like skill and like physical ability, we might say, the Hound is
Right.
better.
I do definitely think that Sandor is comparable to Gregor, who is the Mountain,
Mhm.
and then like I do think Brienne is also comparable to them, but I don't like she's not gonna be like stepping into a cage with them and shit.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, probably would I put Brienne in A? I would probably hmm
I need one tier. I need an A minus and an A
an A
plus.
minus.
Yeah, we need an A
Brienne might
minus,
be
A
good
plus. We
for an
need
A
a B
minus.
minus. Exactly. Because like Brienne, no, Brienne. I think Brienne would probably be A plus personally. Like, because we're talking about show Brienne, and show Brienne's kind of a monster. Like she did just like I know she was armed with Valyrian steel, but she did beat the Mountain, and it's not like she cut through her sword or anything. Like she did just straight up beat the Mountain.
She
And
did, yeah.
in the show, they do a lot worse of a job, like showing that Jaime Lannister was basically like dying. So it did kind of look like she did just beat Jaime Lannister. I mean, obviously it wasn't like
Mhm.
Jaime Lannister at his best, but it wasn't like as bad as he should have been, like in the books. In the
Right,
books, he could barely fucking stand.
right.
So I will put. I do think Brienne is A plus. Also, let me get like a B minus in here as well. I think we need like one more like tier in each direction.
I gotcha. No, I'm adding them to mine because I'm also looking at my own list while
No problem.
looking at yours.
So I'll put Rob in A minus because we agreed on that. He should be above Tywin, but obviously he's going to be below somebody like Brienne, who did beat Sandor. Um, Even though I did just say she beat Sandor, I will still put Sandor in A minus. I think that they are very comparable, and if they had been like equipped equally, it's definitely like a 50-50 between them. Where the fuck is Sandor?
Hmm.
There he is. Although I do think both of them are beneath the mountain. I think people sleep on the mountain like crazy because of that Oberyn match. Um,
Absolutely.
and speaking about the Oberyn match, I mean, obviously, like Oberyn is a great warrior. Pretty much everybody from Dorne is always a great warrior in Game of Thrones. Um,
Hmm.
but not only that, but like Oberyn played the fight perfectly, and he was specifically amped for that fight because he was trying to avenge his dead sister that got
Right.
raped. Um,
I do think that it is fair to put Oberyn over the Mountain because Oberyn would have won that fight if he hadn't, if he had just straight up killed the Mountain there, that would have been it, and he
mhm,
had every opportunity to do that.
this is fair.
So I do think that like I don't think Oberyn is SS. I don't think he's like the
Of course
top tier
not.
warrior that everyone says he is, but I do think that like he's definitely better than Mountain. Like I think the show made that very clear to us that like Oberyn just knows how to handle himself
I think
when
it was more so that Oberyn was like a specific counter to the Mountain. I don't think
right.
he's better than the Mountain. I think he just it's like a triangle theory. You know what I mean? Um, I think if he faced somebody who's faster and better with a sword in like a technical sense, somebody like a Jaime Lannister, who I would also put in like S, I think that he would lose.
Hmm.
And I think it's just that Oberyn did specifically build his character around beating the Mountain that he won that fight because
That
he
is
was using
true.
a weapon specifically designed to counter the Mountain. He was using a what is it called? A glaive, which gave him range enough to fight the Mountain because obviously everybody has less reach than the Mountain,
Right.
which is very difficult to overcome. And if you get close to the Mountain, he's just gonna grab you and kill you. Um, so
Usually, yeah.
yeah. So and even if so if you get close to the mountain you're screwed and you can't play range against the mountain unless you have like a extremely long weapon. So this is what um Oberyn did and what Oberyn used in order to counter the mountain. And again, he was sort of amped for that fight specifically because he had like a personal grudge with it, whereas the mountain just kind of didn't give a shit and was just looking to torture somebody.
Right.
Um, so that gives Oberyn a sort of special boost in that fight specifically. And like
I would
normal
definitely
battle, we
still
don't
keep
know
him
if
an S.
Oberyn's the fucking Mountain Slayer, like in normal
Right.
circumstances. Like like would he beat like season 8 Jon Snow? I don't know. Like
Hmm.
But I'm gonna
I know, no,
tentatively
yeah.
put him in S with the mountain.
That's where I've got him right now.
Yep.
Like if not above the mountain, he's at least in that he's in that level somewhere.
Is Braun in this list?
He is.
Oh, there he
Braun, I
is.
think is an easy. I think Braun is an easy A+.
Well, I'm not trying to get to Braun yet. Right now, we have to. I'm going in like chronological order in my list right now. After we've like established these, which is like the base, like how we like rank characters. So,
Right.
now in my list, I have come to the.
Ario.
Is that his name? Wow, I'm surprised you remember that.
He's a lot more relevant in the books than he was in the show.
That's true. That's true. He got killed by the sisters, but I don't think. Oh, wait, did he?
He did, yeah, because
Yeah,
what's the name of the mother? Is her name like Ilaria or
something. I don't
Obara?
remember. Her character's terrible.
It's Obara, yeah. Or no, it's not. What the fuck is her name? Ilaria. That's
Mhm.
her name. Um,
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure he
yeah,
was taken by surprise or something, or ganged up on. I don't remember. But if I remember correctly,
right.
he's like a
Like
really good warrior. I can't
he
remember
is.
why
Like
though.
he's always held up in the books as being like the greatest, like one of the greatest warriors in Dorne.
Hmm.
Um,
Could we scale him to Oberyn?
Possibly. I don't want to say he is like as strong as Oberyn, but he is
Hmm.
comparable.
Hmm. He gives me vibes of like A plus. You know what I'm saying? Like I do think like whenever we see somebody who's big and strong and skilled, like I'm thinking of people like Sandor and Brienne, and that's kind of where I see him as well.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
see
can
him
agree with that. Like top of A+.
because I feel like he'd be more relevant to the plot if he was S. Because like you look at these characters like Oberyn and like Sandor, and they have like a or not Sandor, I mean Gregor, uh, and they have like a lot more like hype around them,
Hmm.
and a lot more like like obviously they have their own like feats and whatnot. So I am gonna put him in A
Um,
plus. I think that works. Obviously, you said like he's
yeah.
hyped in the books a lot. I mean, do you think he's like scale? Like, did they ever state if he's like better than Oberyn?
They never flat out say that, but God, I can't go into book with you because spoilers. But I will say this though, there is a part in the books where he easily takes care of a fighter that is regarded as like one of the best in the Seven Kingdoms. I'll tell
Mm-hmm.
you that.
Gotcha.
Um, so yeah,
Hmm. That's
like
kind of tricky.
we're talking about someone that is like Kingsguard level.
But Kingsguard level means means nothing.
It's supposed to mean a lot though.
Well, yeah, but
Like
we
yeah,
have people like Barristan Selmy who said that he could even like in his advanced age take like the other four of the Kingsguard.
well yeah, but Barristan Selmy is also like a monster.
Yeah, yeah. Like, but is he like Barristan Selmy level? Is what I'm like wondering.
No, no,
Oh
no.
wait, also Barristan Selmy. I mean, we already have statements. He's equal to Dane. Like that's just a thing.
Yeah, so we can just put him up there.
Just put him in SS right quick. Barristan Selmy, absolute monster. Has like the best feats of the verse. Has like the biggest like historical depth of like
Right.
fighting in the
He
verse.
is he
Oh,
is like
actually, but I did state that this is going off their peak in the show, so that actually makes it a
well
bit
well
trickier.
I mean like I don't like going off the peak in the show because that also means that someone like Robert is lower than where he should actually be.
Yeah, that's my point.
Because yeah, right. Um well no, show Robert would still be pretty high.
He would still be, yeah, he's still very strong. He's just
He
completely out
would
of
yeah,
shape. He would still kill somebody
yeah,
like, I don't know, like random fighter.
absolutely. But
Yeah.
um hmm. So show Barristan, I mean like still A+ at the
Yeah,
very
it's probably
least.
still like A plus because he's still like a
Right.
monster. Obviously, he stated he could kill the entire rest of the Kingsguard, and like season
Right.
5 was
He's
terrible, but he
still
did kill like a bunch of people before that.
right. He's still an extremely competent fighter.
He's definitely
He
the
was good
most
enough
skilled
to
fighter alive, in my opinion, at that point of like
right.
season 5,
He
because
he
Jamie's
was good
hand is
enough
gone.
to right. He was good enough to keep up with. At least it's implied that he was good enough to keep up with Dario.
Hmm.
Um, and like pretty much everyone around Daenerys. That's like including Grey Worm because he taught a lot of what he knew to Grey Worm.
Hmm.
and Grey Worm ended up being one of the best fighters in the show. So
Yeah,
it's like, at the very least, he is like top of A.
yeah. Embarrassing the Bull is definitely like a again like he has like a ton of feats that are just insane within like the books specifically.
Hmm.
But
Absolutely.
unfortunately, he's old. He's
Like in the books, if we were going off the books, like he is still like even in his old age, he's like still an extremely like threatening presence. Like
yeah.
when
I
Barristan is
remember they
coming after
sent.
you, you're gonna die.
I remember in the books they sent two guards after him, right?
Yeah.
After he left, he literally left his sword, and they sent two guards after him, and he killed both of them. And he was an unarmed old man.
Yeah. Like man, I love Barristan so much. He's man, he's definitely one of my favorites.
Hmm.
Um Shame the show killed him in such an unceremonious way,
Yeah, it was
but
very. Yeah, we don't talk about season 5.
we don't talk about anything after season 4.
Whoa, hold on, season
Except
6.
okay. Season 6 gets an exception, but
Season 6 was like such a Hail Mary that the fact that it was good.
yeah.
Alright.
Um,
Oh god, no. You know who we have to rate next?
Arya's SS man. She is SS man. She took out the Night King. Come on,
She did take out the Night King.
took out the Night King. Come on, man.
She fought on equal footing with Brienne, and that was on Arya's. She would bare minimum have to be S,
She
right?
did. It wasn't even on equal footing. Like she played with Brienne. She made a game out of it.
Well, at first, but that was because Brienne wasn't taking it as seriously. But by the end, they did kind of have like a weird draw,
Okay,
if you remember
at
correctly.
the last moment,
At the
yeah.
last moment, they had like a weird draw. Although, again, this is not Arya's like area of expertise, kind of. Like this is
Hmm.
Arya's an assassin, and she was
Right.
holding equal with an A plus warrior. So power scaling be damned. Even though this is like a
Fucking
4'11"
stupid,
girl,
but whatever, I guess.
like at least like Brienne, like the explanation of Brienne being so strong despite being a woman is that she's basically the mountain of women. So like that makes sense. She's like 6'3" and like extremely muscular. But with
Right.
Arya, it's just like how. But she would bare minimum have to be S. Like if anything, she'd be like top of S, or she'd be like literally Arthur Dane tier. She did
Right.
kill the Night
I
King as
think I
well.
think I think the show would want you to believe that she is like comparable to Arthur Dane, which is stupid, but that's how much they hype her up.
That's
But
a
it's
bit
like
insane. That's a bit
if you're being all fairness though, like I don't see her realistically going past Oberyn or anything. Um like Oberyn is where I would draw the line for her actual like skill.
She did beat Brienne in a straight up fight. So do you think she could not assassinate Oberyn?
Well, if she could assassinate him, right, like using stealth, sure. But I mean like in a straight fight,
Mm-hmm.
I would not see her beating Oberyn.
If Arya was tracking down Oberyn, and she couldn't use poison or anything, she did have to like stab him, but she was just tracking him, and Oberyn knew about it, right? But he didn't know like where Arya was. He just knew Arya was tracking him. Do you think that Arya could kill Oberyn?
Does Oberyn know about her face changing abilities?
Uh, yes.
Then I think Oberyn would still win.
Okay. I don't know if I'd go that far though. That's like the
That
tricky one
that's
for me.
that's that's being like realistic though, because obviously the show wants her to be better than
Yeah,
that.
well, this isn't realism, okay? Like,
Yeah, like this is like what does the show tell you about them?
how
And
old
the
is
show
Barristan
tells us
Selmy?
he's like in his like he's like in his upper 60s.
Okay, yeah, like see, like Barristan Selmy should not be an A plus in his upper 60s, nor should Brienne,
But
because
but he
woman.
is because he's Barristan Selmy and he's a monster.
Yeah, but like even then, like that's not like real. Like there's no such thing as a 68-year-old man who could take
I
like
mean
a young prime
that's
Robb
true, but
Stark.
I'm trying to go off like what's said in the books and then like what's actually shown to us in the
Yeah,
show.
we're talking about the show, and in the show, she's either top
They
of
they
S or like in
they don't
SS.
they yeah they don't show us that she's like the best of the best, but they clearly want us to believe that.
Yeah, and she did kill the Night King. Don't forget.
And you know the Night's King actor is the same actor that played Arthur Dane, so you
Okay,
know
whoa. That's like conspiracy theory too. Is that
this
the
is
is that Dan and Dave's way of showing that she's top of the verse?
this is how we power scale Game of Thrones.
Subtle hint by Dan and Dave that Arya is top of the verse. Daria. Arya versus Balerion the Black Dread? Anybody?
Hmm.
Well, you see, Arya could face change into Aegon the First.
just just walk up with like your puny Valyrian dagger. Just start stabbing the shit out of Valerion's like neck or something.
Oh my god.
Valerian gets confused because he just sees Aegon stabbing him. Like that'd be awful.
do
That'd be the
you
worst thing to do to a dragon.
do you do you want to put her at do you want to make a tier in between S and SS?
Just say Arya.
Arya?
Yeah, why not? That sounds the most
No.
appropriate.
Okay, either we do that or we put her in SS. Which one's funnier? Do we put Arya in SS?
God damn it! I don't want to.
I'm
We might have to though.
gonna put Arya in SS.
Are we gonna have anyone else to put in SS?
I don't
Well,
think so.
I guess peak Jamie,
No,
but
Jamie would probably just be an S because obviously it's stated that the only person who can match Prime uh Arthur Dane, the one that fought
is Barristan. Yeah,
yeah, is Barristan. And that's even if he doesn't have the Sword of the Morning. So like even if he
right.
doesn't have the Sword of the Morning, he like even if it's like equal weapons, he would still take Jaime Lannister, who would
Right. Yeah.
apparently take Aragorn. I don't know about that one though.
I hate that I have to put Arya above Jamie, but whatever,
It's
fuck it.
true. So I know this is showing Jamie from like one of the later seasons, but we're taking Jamie from season one. He was like
Right.
obviously like an absolute monster. Not that good in jousting for some reason, but
No, not that good in jail. Well, okay, he is if you go by like um God, I forget. It was like the tourney that the Mad King held. Apparently Jamie did like pretty decent in that.
hmm yeah. But has he
He
ever
wasn't like
won a jousting tournament though?
I think he got pretty close. No, I think he unhorsed Rhaegar. Let me see.
Didn't he lose to Dane in that one?
He might have. I'm checking right now.
Dane's like like we can't fault for somebody for losing to Dane.
Let's see. Okay, so in the books, hold on.
This is
So in
gonna
the
get a
books,
lot
he
funnier
was
when we get to
divorced
Khal
by
Drogo.
Sandor.
Huh? Wait, who did he lose to?
He lost to Sandor in a jousting match in the books.
And against the Mad King?
No, this was during Robert's
Yeah,
tourney.
I know about Robert's tournament. Yeah, but like I'm talking about against the Mad King.
I'm trying to find it right now.
That's another thing, because like I do want to take like things like jousting into account, because like not every fight between two people is like swords in like on the
Hmm.
ground. So like obviously like we have like characters who specialize in certain areas. Like Rhaegar, for an example, is like very powerful. This list doesn't even have Rhaegar. I don't think that's kind of annoying. Like Rhaegar is very good at jousting, and like somebody like um where is he?
Oh, okay, no. So he didn't. So Jamie didn't even compete with him during the tournament because Jamie got sent back to King's Landing.
I know Jamie
Okay,
lost because like whenever Tyrion lost his dagger or whatever, or Tyrion like I remember no,
he
it was when
said he was
Tyrion won
betting
his
on
dagger.
Jamie.
Yeah, he was betting
Yeah.
against Jamie, and then Jamie I don't even remember who he was against.
Hold on one second.
Although that could have been like a
I'm going through
ploy
it one.
by Jamie and Tyrion to win a dagger, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
Like that could have just been like planned, like a actual like like what's the word I'm looking for? Like a throw.
Right.
Um what is his name? But going back to what I was saying earlier, like there are characters who are like specifically extremely strong in like specific circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
Um so like Euron Greyjoy is probably like one of the strongest like in terms of battle on a ship, for example.
Right.
Because he's used to like being like living his life on a ship, whereas like it's very different like fighting on a ship compared to Euron Greyjoy. Oh, that's gonna be such a hard one to like power scale.
Yeah, that one's gonna be wacky.
Yeah, a few of these are gonna be ridiculous. I'm gonna take like a lot of assumptions. Oh, speaking of a
It's
lot of
already
assumptions,
ridiculous because we have Arya on there.
we at least Arya has feats. Like the next one is gonna be even harder.
Yeah. Um.
So getting to the
God,
next
I
one,
can. Yeah. Go.
Benjen Stark. He kind of doesn't fight
Speaking of
anybody.
people, speaking of people we don't know anything about.
Benjen Stark. He kills like two zombies and then dies. I think.
Yes, he comes in. He has a big heroic scene in season 6 when he makes his return. Shows that he's competent in taking care of White Walkers. And
He
then he
doesn't kill a
disappears,
White Walker though.
comes
All he
back,
does
and
is
then
kill
dies.
zombies.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like I meant the zombies.
Yeah.
And then he comes back later, and then he just dies immediately.
Hmm. Yeah. Um. It's kind of
I
awkward because
mean,
he is the first. He is like the leader of the Rangers, so he should be
right.
good, right?
So he is like at the very least he's competent. He's very competent.
John did expose the
Um,
fact that the Rangers kind of suck at sword fighting though, because he was kind of beating the hell out of everybody and then started like coaching them in how to fight. You know, so like John was going to become first Ranger because he was so good, but John is literally like 16. So
right.
like by the time that happens, or like 15, I think. Yeah, he's like 15 by the time like he becomes like he takes the block, right?
Yes.
Okay. Like, this is obviously with like the books, like the show, it's a bit different. And, well, like even in like the show, like John's like far and like he's like beating the hell out of every single uh person that they send in for the Night's Watch. In the show, John's obviously even like crazy stronger because uh, in the books, what's his name? Uh, Sir. Oh my God. Who's like a dude who betrays John and like plots his death?
Oh,
Whoever he is, he sends three dudes after John, right? And
yes.
in the book, John's two friends help him, right? And
Yes.
so it's a 3v3. And like John dispatches like one of them and then they like win because like John like immediately takes out his opponent. In the show, because the show, even in like season one, it's not as well written. In the show,
Mhm.
John just 1v3s.
Yeah, yeah.
And because the show didn't have as much time to develop the friendships that John makes in the Night's Watch, like the people he makes friends with, like Pip is one of the people who goes after him, even though he wouldn't do that because Pip is John's friend, right? But like in the show,
Yeah.
they're just like he's like Pip, go after him, you know, and he sends like three people after John, and then John like beats all three of them at once.
Yeah.
Um, thank you, show. Um, so we know like the Night's Watch, they're not that good at sword fighting, you know.
Not usually, but you see you also have like outliers like Horn Halfhand who was like legendary status to them.
Hmm.
Um
Yeah, they have like
and
outliers, but I'm just
apparently
saying like I don't know if him being like first ranger would mean he's like A plus. I'm like tentatively thinking about putting him in B plus.
because you see I'm looking at it right now and apparently it's a commonly held like belief that he is one of the best fighters from the Stark family, but there's like no information provided on that.
That's silly. Yeah.
Everyone is just saying, "Oh, well, he was at the wall for a long time. He was the first ranger for a long time, so he must just be like that good."
Hmm.
But there's no feats. There's nothing really
Also,
written.
before the White Walkers showed up, being first ranger wasn't really all that crazy. Not gonna lie. I mean,
It
like
wasn't.
obviously they had to
Yeah, it
deal with like
wasn't. Yeah,
wildling skirmishes, but like the wildlings were kind of just stupid savages. And so,
kinda. Yeah, I mean, like, because you have to understand that like you were running around. They had more.
like they didn't fight with like unity. They weren't like a well-oiled militia like the black,
Right.
like
Right.
the yeah, like they were.
The wildlings were just kind of like random groups that would like separate and then like go on hunting trips and shit. So and and you have like the wall and they're bringing like the techniques and strategies from Westeros with them whenever they go out there,
Yeah.
so it's like they're better prepared to fight than the wildlings would ever be.
Yep.
um
Also, the fact that he was on horseback and he only managed to take out like a couple of zombies before he died, I'm not. I'm gonna put him in B plus. I don't care. This is show logic.
yeah,
I don't care.
I agree,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, Barrack Donovan. Okay, this one is fun because I actually think Barrack is like really strong. I just think like obviously like the one fight we saw him against like Sandor, Sandor won,
Hmm.
but like Sandor's a monster himself. I think Barrack is actually really strong.
He is.
He has a lot of experience, and um, I think like obviously he's below like the mountain and like Sandor, but that means
Mhm.
he could probably be anywhere from like A minus to B plus.
Right.
What did he do in like season 7 and 8? Because I kind of repressed those memories of watching season 7 and 8. How did he do? He
um,
does have a fire sword.
he does have a fire sword, but all we really see him do, he does the same thing that everyone else does in season 7 and 8. He kills a few zombies.
Yeah, but how many zombies does he kill? Does he kill more? Does he
He
kill more
doesn't
than
kill that
Benjen
many.
Stark?
Well, everyone killed more than Benjamin, but like, we,
Maybe
I
A
mean, like,
minus. I'm thinking A minus.
he killed around the same amount of zombies that the Hound killed.
Yeah,
That
but the Hound
John
also has
Henson,
feats
like,
before that. Like the Hound holds his own against the Mountain, and the Hound like kills a bunch of people before that. So
I know. It's
like the
just like,
Hound, I think he literally goes into the camp of like where barracks like uh AWOL soldiers are sitting, and he like
mhm,
beats like all three or
right.
something like that. Is it crazy? Yeah.
So something that I'm finding is that whenever the Mountain did go rogue, people like to point out that Ned did choose Barrack specifically to go after him, and
That's true.
from what I'm pulling from memory, Barrack was respected when it came to tournaments.
Mm.
Um, Not that I think that means Barrack would kill the Mountain. He would obviously need like a whole fucking like squad of men to have a chance at taking out the Mountain.
Is
But
Thoros even on this list? I just realized I was thinking about like people with like Lord of Light powers, and I was thinking like, oh yeah, like Thoros is like also somebody who's like
yeah,
who also has
Thoros
some
is
like
on there.
cleric powers. Where the fuck?
Thoros is on there.
Oh,
He's
there he is.
between
Right here.
Podrick and Ramsay.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I know like we don't allow like equipment differences on here, but like
Mhm.
specifically, I would allow the fact that they can light weapons on fire, because
Right.
that's part of their skill. Like they're basically like faith, like paladins. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I would put Barrack in A minus.
Yeah, I think A minus is like perfect for him. I'm even gonna move him above Jon Snow. What the fuck, Rob Stark? We'll get to Jon Snow soon. Oh boy, this is that.
Watch it, buddy. Watch it.
Jon Snow is gonna. Rob is my favorite character. And Jon Snow on this list is gonna be very fun. Almost as fun as Arya was.
Oh man.
Braun. Oh wait, speaking of fun, ooh, rating Jon is gonna be fun. He could be in so many different tiers. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna point out, Braun did threaten two Kingsguard and then they fucked off.
Yeah.
Like
Um.
they outnumbered him, and they were told explicitly like we're not allowing anybody in here. And then Braun said, "I will like slit your throat if you do not let us in here." And then they fucked off.
Yeah. Braun is he's definitely one of the better fighters. He's an extremely smart fighter.
Absolutely, I
Um,
think he has some of the best fight IQ in the verse.
he does, and
And not only that, but
I would
he
say
basically predicted how Oberyn was going to beat the mountain before the like
right.
Oberyn beat the mountain, because he said like you're going to need range and you're going to need to be light on your feet and you're going to need to dance around him. Well, like everybody else was saying like what the hell, why isn't Oberyn wearing armor? And then Braun was the only person who was like, no, you'd want to be like light for that. Armor's not going to help you. It's just going to cleave through
Absolutely. Braun is like everything that Dario wishes he was. Um, because Dario tried to do the same exact thing and he was wrong.
it.
Um, but it's just like, but even Braun does give himself like a limit. Like whenever he was asked to face the mountain, he just said "fuck no"
Yeah,
and then dipped.
yeah.
Um, but I do think a lot of people hype Braun up to be like
I
one
don't
of the
think he's
best of the best.
literally
I think
Oberyn level, but I think yeah,
right.
he's
I think
very
he's
strong.
good somewhere in A plus.
Yeah, I also agree. I think like A plus is like the perfect place for him. Now
Because it's
specifically
yeah, 'cause
where in A plus is like a fun part because, I think he would beat old
God, do you think he
old
would beat the
Barristan.
Hound?
I don't know if he'd beat the Hound. That's the thing.
Because
Actually,
I
I'm
feel
gonna
like
move him to the top of A plus right quick.
Yeah, because I feel like he could. I feel like Braun is capable of taking out anyone that isn't just like a monster. You know?
Yeah. Because here's like the weird ABC logic I see in this. I feel like the Hound would beat Braun, but I feel like Braun would beat Brienne, and then Brienne beat the Hound. Although she did have,
Yeah.
blah 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 blah. Like
Yeah, like she did have like some sort of like
she had,
advantage.
yeah, she had a Valyrian steel sword, so we have to all
I
respect
have
it.
him. I have him sitting between the Hound and Brienne right now.
Would that mean we move? No. I'm just gonna put him. That's weird because like Brienne has to be above the Hound, but then like I don't know. Because like if not, we're making the assumption. Like I know we are saying like Brienne had a Valyrian steel sword, but even then like I feel like the show is still trying to imply like Brienne was like just slightly better than the Hound that day. So I'm gonna
Like
keep
I don't
her
think
above.
I'm not confident in saying Braun goes over the Hound.
Hmm. Oh, also now that I think about it, there's some really funny counter matchups that could happen in here. Like Thoros should in theory beat the Hound because he could just light his sword on fire and then the Hound would probably just like run away.
We can't count that though because
No,
that's not like a
I'm
duel.
not saying that's like an argument for Thoros over the Hound. I'm just saying like there's like some funny matchups in Game of Thrones.
Right,
You know how I was
right,
saying like Oberyn is like the perfect counter to the Mountain? Like I think like Thoros is like
right,
the perfect counter to Sandor.
right. Yeah, I respect that.
Hmm.
That would be funny though. Like they just get in the duel. Throws just
Yeah.
lights his sword on fire, and then the Hound just gets like
I'm good.
PTSD and runs.
I give up. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna
I-
put Braun. I'm confident in Braun like right here, right below the Mountain or the
Okay,
Hound.
yeah,
What the fuck am I
I'm looking
saying?
around that.
Dude, if I confuse the Cleganes one more time, I swear I've watched the show.
One is a zombie and the other is a person. I don't know how you get them confused.
I mean, both of them are people at one point.
At one point,
Yep,
the Mountain went through like three different actors before he became a zombie,
this is
though.
true. Yeah, that was not jarring at all, seeing actor swaps in Game of Thrones. Thank you, Game of Thrones.
They did it so often. Like every time I rewatch it, I'm just like, oh shit, he doesn't look like that. Like a couple episodes from now.
Yeah, it's like you see him, and then he's at like the table with Tywin, and there's like some black-haired actor who's apparently like even like 7 foot in real life. I was like, damn, they should have stuck with him. Even though I think like
Yeah,
Halfdor is like a great actor for the Mountain, though.
he really was. I mean, to be fair, he didn't have to do much acting, but like you got the point of him when you saw him.
I just like I don't I feel like Halfdor is like the perfect Mountain because he is like very large and he's like he's like one of the strongest men on the earth, uh,
Right.
just like the Mountain.
Like
And
he was a great fit for it.
yeah, and I think like he did like basically bring the intimidation that the Mountain should have.
Did you do anything?
What?
Okay, no, the guy I'm looking at's not even on your list yet, so don't worry about that. We'll come
Well,
back
we're
to
on
that.
Dario for me.
Yeah, same here.
Okay, so Dario. Dario's a hard one
Dario
because
is
Dario all like Dario kills a few people in Essos, right? But then
Mhm.
Danny's like, I need you to stay in Essos, and then Dario's like, please no. And then Danny says, no, you're gonna do it anyways. And then we never visit Dario again. He could have died
We
in like
never
a
hear
slave
more.
uprising for all we know.
Yes. I said earlier I do think Braun is the better fighter than Dario.
Yeah. Well, that's tricky because
So
I think Braun is like smarter than Dario, but I think Dario's more athletic than Braun.
Dario is more athletic, but I think Braun would be able to think of a way around that because he's fought more athletic fighters that he's still been able to beat.
Well, like, but Dario, like, has he ever fought somebody as athletic and as skilled as Dario? Is the thing.
As far as I know, I don't. If he has, it hasn't been stated.
Hmm. Because I don't think he's fought anybody that was necessarily on the level of like Dario, which I don't think Dario. And Dario is a very tricky fighter because he has a lot of a different like abilities. Like he's very good at throwing knives as well as like just swordplay.
Hmm.
He's very tricky. So I think
That would be an actually like really fun matchup to
yeah,
see.
Dario versus Braun is something that I would have loved to see. And it could have happened too if Danny had just brought like
Yeah,
Dario and
yeah.
then like Braun had like continued working for Cersei. It could have happened.
God, that would have been such a good scene if they did that, but no,
No.
we can't have good moments.
Yeah, but that would have actually been like a great scene. I feel like, just like weirdly enough, I think like narratively, like Braun would win that.
I would have liked to see Braun win that just because I don't like Dario. Well, I don't like him in the books either, but
Oh yeah, speaking of changing actors, Dario.
yeah, no, he should have stuck with the original actor because the original actor nailed the character, and they got this Dario who looks like he's literally like David from the Bible series.
Hmm.
If you ever watched that, I don't know.
To be fair,
I
I
don't like
think like
Dario.
aesthetically, like I think like looks wise, he fits better for Dario because like obviously like he looks more like somebody who's from Essos. Like he looks a bit Middle Eastern, to me.
Yeah,
But I think like for sure, I don't think for sure beneath Braun, but like I think he should be beneath Braun.
I have him an A+ right next to
Yeah,
Braun.
are you
He's
sure?
because
Would he be below
it's
or above
close.
Barristan Selmy? Because I feel like he'd be like equal to Barristan Selmy. Because you said like they're very like comparable, like statement wise.
Oh God, that's right.
He's
Okay, well,
pretty
I
much
mean, like,
even.
but I
What?
don't think Braun would have a chance against Barristan.
Really?
God, this is difficult.
Are you sure? I feel like
Okay,
Braun would beat
okay, no,
Barristan.
I take that back. Like, yeah, old Barristan. Okay, yeah, Braun has a chance, so I take that back.
I'm just gonna put him next to Barristan. Like, yeah, I don't think it really. I'm just gonna say like I don't think it. I think he's equal to Barristan, and I don't think it matters where you put him, like whether it's above or below,
Mhm.
because I think they're equal. So I'm just gonna put him here. Like,
I
even though
gotcha.
he's
That's fair.
beneath Barristan, I think they're equal. Like these two. Oh, this is so ridiculous. Two of our A pluses is a woman and a 68-year-old man, and then in SS we have a child.
In SS, yeah. In SS, you have like a 16-year-old. Whatever.
A 16-year-old. What is she like? 4'11" child, like very
Yeah.
scrawny.
I mean, okay, to be fair, like, at this point, she's supposed to be like 18 or 19.
Is
But
she?
yeah, because in the show, roughly a year passes each season.
Okay. I thought she was like 8 at the start or something.
No, at the start, she was like 12,
Really? Okay.
12 or 13. She
Yeah,
was
she's
like a
just like
year or two
super
younger than me.
underdeveloped because like that's like how her character is supposed to be because she's like skinny and shit and like small. That's
Also,
why she
Maisie
makes a good
Williams just like,
assassin and not somebody who's
right.
supposed to be able to fight on toe with Brienne.
But no, throw that away. That's stupid.
Whatever.
That's stupid, Rockland.
Girl
She's an
boss.
assassin. She's a good fighter.
All right. So speaking of girl bosses, we have the Onion Knight,
Yeah, yeah. Like
the
definitely
best girl
like
boss. Definitely
definitely
below
like
B
top
plus,
five
of course.
female characters. You know.
Yeah, but one of my favorite. Yeah, an absolute queen. But I definitely think he beats Samwell in a fight. I know he's
Yeah,
himself like he's missing fingers, and he states he's not that good with a sword, but he has experience with a sword, and he's not fat, so he definitely like he beats Sam, right?
yeah,
Sam,
yeah. He's
whenever
also
Sam
like
kills
not a
somebody, he like
pussy.
accidentally kills some people. Yeah, what?
Right, right.
Yeah, so
Okay,
like
I shouldn't call Sam a pussy because he's not at this point, but
yeah, at his peak, we're talking about characters at their peak. So this would be like season 8
right,
Sam,
right,
who like
right.
accidentally kills a couple zombies.
Like season 8, Sam still can't fight, but at least he's willing to.
When did Sam kill a White Walker? Did he kill a White Walker? No, yeah, he killed a White Walker.
That was season 4, yeah. But that I mean, like he was about to die from it. It wasn't a
This yeah, it was one
fight.
of those moments where like yeah, like obviously like it's like when Lady Mormont killed a giant. It's like
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, like, okay, it made a lot more sense than that, but it's the same idea.
it's
Like,
the same
had the
idea of
white
like you should have died, but by some miracle, because the plot demanded it, you didn't die.
again, the books has an explanation for it. I wish the show just whatever.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Okay. It's kind of hard to scale them because we don't have anybody in B minus C and D. So how much
I'm
better do
thinking
you think he is
either.
than Sam, and how much worse do you think he is than Benjen Stark?
I think he's a lot worse than Benjamin Stark, but I also think he's a lot better than Sam.
Do
Um,
you want to keep him in C and then we can drop him later if we like run into anybody who needs to be
yeah,
C and is like
like if we
definitely
need
better
to.
than him?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Khal Drogo, that's a fun one. Here we go. This
That's
is why I
definitely
wanted it to be like based off like skill and like the natural ability of the fighter, and not like because like every time you put Khal Drogo against a great fighter, it's always the same response. Oh, he doesn't have armor, so Jaime Lannister would win because like, Jaime Lannister has armor. Like this is like
that's,
now we get to actually
that's a
discuss what.
That's a stupid argument to make with Drogo specifically, because I think if you put Drogo in a fight with like anyone, no matter their equipment, unless they have a Valyrian steel sword, like I think Drogo would still just win.
Really?
I think if he walked up to Westeros and was just like, "Hey, random lord, come and fight me," I think he would just
Oh yeah, he would
massacre
kill the
whoever
hell out of
tried.
every single lord, of course. But
Like,
like, I don't think he would beat Arthur Dane, even in like equal
no,
stats or
no,
like equal weapons. I mean,
no, not at all.
yeah.
I don't think he would beat peak show Arya.
Stop.
but
It's like, well, I mean, like Khal Drogo is like the greatest fighter in Essos, but you can't be saying he beats Show
you
Arya.
can't you can't beat show Arya. I mean,
That's a bit too far.
that's too far. That's pushing it.
But I do think he is like definitely one of the he's I think he's stated to be like the greatest warrior in Essos. That means he should beat all of
Mhm.
the Jogos Nahai, uh,
Yeah,
as well as the
yeah.
fact that he could beat all of the Blood Riders and all of the other Khals. And that is like he is pretty much the greatest Khal, right? Because he has like the longest weave or whatever, or the longest like bells.
That's kind of like the thing. Like that's the reason like his group, his Khalasar was so damn huge and intimidating was just because like he himself was so strong that
Yeah.
all these people were just like, "Oh yeah, let's just go like join him
hmm
because he's just the best one." Like there wasn't a question.
I think he's an S, but where in S
Yeah.
is like the question. I think he beats Oberyn, right? And I think he beats the
I think he
Mountain.
beats the Mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem is Jaime Lannister. I don't know if he beats Jaime Lannister. It like even like considering like equal like like equipment. I don't like that's like a 50-50 to me.
Mm,
Because both of them are such monsters. Like Jaime Lannister, by the time of season one, Khal Drogo is the best warrior in Essos, and Jaime Lannister is the best warrior in Westeros.
right.
They're
Yeah.
both like like they're both like just monsters in like a 1v1 fight. Like you can't like people can't even imagine themselves like beating these people in like a one-on-one fight. Like we saw Jorah Mormont and he almost died to like just a blood rider, and even then he had like armor advantage
Yeah.
in both the books and the show. Although the show, the fight was like a bit more in Jorah's favor, but like in the books, like Jorah gets really fucked up before he
He
like
does.
wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like he's literally about to die. It's luck that he made it, pretty
Okay, it's
much.
not luck, but like he did win, but he was like really like it was like
Right.
extreme difficulty. Whereas like in the show, it's more
He,
like high
yeah.
difficulty.
He won, but it wasn't purely because of like his skill.
Yeah, and this is season one Jorah, which is definitely the best version of Jorah because he just gets like older and older as the show goes. So like whether he's above or below Jamie, I don't know if I'd put him above Jamie. I think I'd put him right above the Mountain and below Jamie. Because I definitely think he would beat Oberyn in the Mountain. I think he would beat the Mountain in like the exact same way Oberyn did it. Because like Khal Drago, when he wants to be, is very intelligent at fighting. He's sort of like a Goku of the verse. Like he's very intelligent at like fighting and kind of retarded and everything else.
Hmm.
Um, like that's basically just his purpose. He's like, I'm a genius of fighting and war, and like everything else, I'm incompetent in.
Right.
That's why he trusts a 13-year-old girl to to make
To
decisions for him in other areas.
handle the politicking. Right.
That's possibly a mistake, but
But no, like J- Khal Drogo, he only cares about fighting.
yeah,
That's it. And it was something he dedicated his life to.
yeah. So I would say because like the only reason why I want to put Jamie above Khal Drago is specifically because George R. R. Martin hypes up Jamie so much. Like George R. R. Martin is the number one Jamie meat writer, right?
Hmm.
Like it was, he has like Jamie has like the most ridiculous statements. Like he would beat like an entire group of Cthulhu cultists. Like what? He
Right.
would beat Aragorn in a 1v1. Obviously, like this isn't like canon. Like I don't know if he could actually beat Aragorn just because like George R. R. Martin said so. Because we would have to dig up Tolkien and see what Tolkien says. And maybe Tolkien would be like, "Oh no, Aragorn! Like, of course Aragorn would win. What? Like Aragorn's like a superhuman. Like, and
But
Jamie's just a
Jamie's
normal human.
really good.
Yeah, but like Aragorn has like 70 years of experience. So I think like when George R. R. Martin said that Jamie could beat Aragorn, that was a bit of like a tongue-in-cheek comment. But yeah,
Right.
but Jamie, we all know Jamie's a monster. Jamie's like pretty much probably like at the beginning of season one, Jamie is probably just the strongest man in like the universe at that time.
He's the most skilled fighter around. He's the one guy that nobody wants to fuck with.
Yeah. And to be
Um,
honest, it's kind of sad that we never got to see like you know how we were talking about like Dario versus Braun. I think another fight I would have loved to see is Jamie versus Khal Drogo.
mhm,
But then Jamie gets crippled and Khal Drogo dies. So
right. I will say that whenever you get to this point in the books, when him and Brienne do have their confrontation, um, in the books it makes it out to be a lot more even than it is in the show because in the show she just kind of
thank you.
finishes him, you know. Um, but in the book, even Brienne, when Jamie is crippled, and she makes a note of this, I believe.
Yeah,
She's
obviously, like
she
in the books, they explain it a lot better. That like Jamie's like in
right
terrible condition.
she even has a monologue where it's just she's surprised how even in this condition she could still feel that she could die to him at any moment.
Yeah,
So
but like in the show, it's
um
just kind of like you know, like Jamie obviously looks like bad in the show, but like you never get that like they never directly like state anything, and you don't really see it in like Jamie's movement that he's basically emaciated.
right, they kind of just treat him as the same, you
Yeah, but
know.
like it's obvious he's not at his peak, but it's not as like you don't feel the weight of like how bad it is for Jamie in that moment.
He wasn't a prisoner for 2 years. You don't see that when you look at him.
Yeah, but
But no, in the books, they definitely make a very big note of that, where it's even in that crippled state, though, he's still a threat. And
yeah.
Brienne is a competent fighter, and she still is threatened by him. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Uh, and Jamie does manage to beat a Dornish soldier even with like just his left hand. Is like still very impressive, even though like Jamie is like much weaker with his left hand.
Even though that scene is stupid, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
And I mean,
But
Braun like kills like two, but still.
yeah, I mean it's true. Um
Braun MVP.
that
What was that? Was that season 7 or season
was
6?
season 5.
Oh, season 5. Damn.
Yeah, that was when they first got to Dorne, and um those guys were just on their horses and spotted them
Yeah.
and were just hey, you can't be here, and then they were just oh well, fuck you, and then they all killed each other. So.
Yeah. Hmm. So yeah, Khal Drago just below Jamie.
I got you. Do you have Jamie in S tier then?
Yeah. What?
Okay,
I'm
I
not
thought
remember
because
when we put him.
earlier I said let's move him up to S, and I think you said you were gonna keep him in A. I
I
don't know. I might be
never once had him
misremembering.
in A. No, I think like Jamie is like again like always just below. Because like look at the other people I have in S, and I think Jamie would definitely beat the Mountain and Oberyn.
Right. Right.
It's to the
Okay.
point where I think he would beat both of them, not even like a like matchup type thing.
Okay. Good. I'm glad we've been agreeing then because I've been wanting to move Jamie up, but I thought you said keep him in A. That's my bad.
No, no, no. Yeah, yeah. Jamie top of S for sure. Just below S. Yeah, you can't say he would beat like Arya or anything, but yeah.
Yeah. No, that'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, he's stupid. Come on, man.
Ned Stark.
Arya tied with the dude or with the girl who beat Jamie. You can't, by ABC logic.
A plus B does not equal C here, Lachlan.
Okay, let's see here.
Ned Stark.
Ned
Is
Stark.
Ned Stark
Okay,
next?
Ned
Yeah.
Stark in the books and Ned Stark in the show are just two like different warriors. Okay, like Ned Stark. Ned Stark in the show is actually like really strong because
Mhm.
even in older age he manages to hold his own with peak Jamie. He was gonna lose, but he did hold his own with peak Jamie, and then also he kills a Kingsguard single-handedly uh, back in the past, which is shown in the show, so we could use that version of of Ned Stark.
Right.
Um, Not only does he kill a member of the Kingsguard single-handedly, but then he fights Dane and lasts longer single-handedly than some of his friends were lasting in like a 4v1. So we know
Right.
like Ned is like actually like really strong in a 1v1 in the show, right?
I would put so if you go on
I'm
like
thinking like A minus. You know,
I think A minus works. Um
like top.
I do believe that well, it's just a commonly held belief that like Rob, by the time Rob goes to war and is at his peak, that he is stronger than Ned.
But is there any
Um
proof to that, especially in the
I
show?
don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah. And like even if that's like stated, it's probably stated in the books because it's not stated in the show.
No, the show doesn't make any note of it.
Yeah. So there's no like way because like obviously like in like the books like Jamie's just fucking around with Ned, right? Like he's like not even trying.
Yeah.
Like in the show you can see Jamie's like really trying.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say like top of A minus or maybe bottom of A plus. It's one of these two. And would you say Prime yeah, Prime Ned is definitely the one that fought Arthur Dane, right?
Yes.
And like we did get stated that Arthur Dane is far better than Ned, but it's fucking Arthur Dane. So
Right. He's far better than everyone. That's his
yeah,
point.
except for
That's
Arya Stark.
except for Arya Stark. That would be the best
That would
like
be the
fight.
matchup of the century.
That would be the best matchup. Like give Arthur Dane like his
Why didn't we
sword.
get zombie Arthur
And
Dane? That would actually been. I'm sorry. I actually do like the like. I think that zombie Arthur Dane would have been stupid, but it would have been really cool. Come on.
zombie Arthur Dane. He's just there for some reason. Like he died like almost 20 years prior, but he's there.
Well, I mean, the Night King revived Starks that had been dead for like centuries in the Stark crypt. So why couldn't he
Yeah,
revive Arthur
but
Dane?
because Arthur Dane was on the other side of the continent.
Yeah, but you know, whatever.
Whatever. You're just gonna stick to your fan theories. It's okay.
I bring up my
Um,
like what if the White Walkers won theory. To be fair, they probably well no, because then you could just take the direct. I don't know. Why? Okay,
um,
now we have a new theory. Why didn't the White Walkers just build ships?
because apparently they can make like magic chains appear out of nowhere. Um,
Oh yeah,
but
yeah.
Ships is asking for too much. That's too much.
Like, why did they need one of Danny's dragons? Why didn't they just build ships and go around the wall? It's like, it's too far.
The wall's magic, man. They can't get past it. God.
Yeah. Okay,
Did you
so
finish?
right.
Um,
Do you like Eddard in bottom of A plus or top of A minus more? Like, how do you think like a prime young Eddard Stark would do against somebody like Dario?
that'd be a good matchup, but I see Dario winning.
I agree. I'm gonna put him
I
tentatively in the
currently
bottom of, or the top of A minus. I think he would
I
beat
yeah
Beric.
I have him on top of A minus, mainly just because I don't have many people in A
I
minus.
just realized how
So
much did they age up Beric? Because isn't Beric supposed to be young?
let me check his age in the books. He's not young. He's like in his. I think he's still in like his 30s. But Beric Dondarrion also has like a different actor in season one than he does later.
Oh yeah,
So
he does.
and his season one actor looked a lot closer to his book counterpart at the time.
Yeah.
Book age. Oh, okay. So no, Beric is 21 at the beginning of the first book. So yeah, he
Yeah.
is pretty young.
Yeah. Question mark? How much did they fucking age him up?
I don't know.
They aged him
Let
up
me
by like
see.
20 years in the show. Why? Because fuck you.
Why? Because old people look cool.
Alright, so
They don't even have an age for him in the show.
amazing. Okay, so Mama Dorn.
Uh,
Alright. Obviously not
D
a great fighter. Like her
D.
daughters are better than her, and they aren't even that great individually. They're more of a team.
I think
So
that. I think that my baby girl Davos Seaworth
Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah, the
would
question, like,
beat her.
obviously, Benjamin Stark would beat her. Obviously, she would beat Samwell. But how do we feel about Davos Seaworth?
Davos beats her. I mean, like
How do you know? Because Davos himself is like not like he's not that good of a fighter. But like I don't remember
well,
what did she do in the show. How did I know she kills the king?
Alaria isn't a fighter though. Like
Yeah,
period. I don't know if she has any training. Like her daughters
does
do.
she like
But she doesn't.
does she do anything in the show?
She like stealthily kills a couple people, and
Yeah.
that's it. She never has like any actual confrontation.
Uh.
So, I mean, like, see, I would actually think that if you gave Ilaria a sword, she would not be able to do anything. I think she would wildly swing it, you know? I don't
Yeah.
think she would actually have any precision. If you go to Sam, and this is stupid, but like when you see Sam like actually fighting in season 8 against like the zombies, you
Yeah.
you can tell he has an idea of what he's supposed to be doing. Like
Yeah.
he can't do it well, but he has an idea.
I
That's
feel like there's
more than
no way that she hasn't had training because she's Dornish.
not everyone in Dorne is trained to fight. That's mainly a male thing. Like women can be trained, but that's a male dominant thing.
Yeah, but
Uh,
she is a Dornish royalty. I feel like, and she's like, with her personality, I feel like she knows something. I just don't know.
she's good with a dagger when someone isn't expecting her.
Hmm.
But that can be said for anyone.
Especially
So
SS tier.
yeah, especially that's why Arya is like the top fighter. But
Yeah.
no, I don't think she can. I don't think she would beat anyone else on this list.
Do you think there's a gap between Davos? Do you think that there is a her-sized gap between Davos and my boy Samwell?
We can say so. I mean,
Or do you think she'd like you are like? Do you think it would be like close between her and Davos? Or do you think
no.
like Davos would just beat her?
I think Davos would just beat her.
Okay, I'll just put her in D then. That's fine.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, this one's spicy. Oh, okay. So the tricky part about rating, uh, uh, Euron is he's like a super soldier in season 7, and then in season 8 he gets beaten by left-handed Jamie. Well, he ties with left-handed Jamie Lannister.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, he was being cocky, and Jamie Lannister turned out to still be alive, and then he got like stabbed.
And
But
Euron has also just finished like swimming a mile.
this
So
is true. Like, I'm not saying that like left-handed Jamie Lannister is better than him, but he did lose to left-handed Jamie Lannister, and that's kind of sad.
yeah. And even if you go by like book standards, like Euron himself isn't really that impressive of a fighter. He can
Mhm.
beat like your average Joe, but he's nothing they're gonna be, like writing mythical stories about or anything.
But if we go by his feats in the show, right?
Hmm.
When he was facing Theon, he killed like 4 dudes at once, and then he
He
scared
did.
the piss
He
out
did.
of Theon. He even beat what's her name, Yara.
He could have. He could have killed her.
No,
He
didn't
chose
he
not.
literally just beat Yara and then kidnap her?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and not only that, but he beat like 3 other fucking dudes. Like
He also killed all of the sand snakes.
yeah, he is like a monster. Like in the show, it's just that one weird part where like he's like struggling with left-handed Jamie Lannister. So I don't know.
Okay.
I'm thinking like bottom of A plus, maybe like I don't fucking know. A minus maybe, like maybe
I'm
right
good
below
with
Eddard.
I'm good with bottom of A plus. I think that is fair because like the sand snakes are supposed to be impressive fighters.
Yeah, but they're like a team, whereas like they're not like impressive like individually. In my
I
opinion.
mean, Obara and Namira. I think
Well,
that's their
yeah, but you
names.
look at Braun, and Braun like if I remember correctly, he like beat one of the sand snakes and then like or something. I didn't
Oh
like
yeah, like I mean, like none of them are as good as Braun, but they're still like impressive.
yeah.
Like you could put them in like A minus, and I think that would be fair.
I was thinking like top of B plus or bottom of A minus. It depends on the sand snake as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Euron Greyjoy, pretty much an enigma on the show. Like we don't know how. Like he has some crazy outlier feats, and then he has like struggling with left-handed Jaime Lannister.
Yeah. So I mean,
And if I had to rank left-handed Jaime Lannister, he'd probably be in like B minus. So
right. Yeah, I agree. Um,
next we have
I'll put.
huh?
I'll go ahead and put him at the bottom of A plus.
Yeah, likewise. Um.
Ah, Gendry.
Oh yeah, Gendry. Gendry is
He is
a
good with.
what?
He is good with a hammer.
Yeah, that's
The
true. I mean, Gendry
few times
obviously.
we see him use it.
Gendry kills like a couple of knights, but he takes them by surprise. He kills a good amount of snowy boys. Obviously, he's like a Baratheon, so he has like freakish strength. I don't really know. Like, does he fight anybody in like one-on-one circumstances? I know he runs away from a lot of fights. He is stated to be really fast.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't. No, he doesn't have like any straight up 1v1s or anything. There's not much to really
He's
like.
really fast and really strong, but he never kills anybody that isn't like a zombie. You know.
Right.
Um.
He's like Robert, but like take the freakishness away from Robert.
Yeah, he's like a. He's like Robert's like a superhuman, whereas like he's just like peak human. But then like also Robert's like more skilled, obviously, because like
Mm-hmm.
Gendry doesn't actually know how to fight. This is why he uses a hammer, because he doesn't know how to use a sword, and like swords are actually really difficult to use.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's why you use a hammer if you're like an idiot, because hammers have like really like low skill floors.
I think if we're gonna have Benjen in B plus, I think it's fair to have Gendry in B plus.
He would be like bottom of B plus, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
even though like he shouldn't in theory beat Benjen, because Benjen actually knows how to fight, and like Gendry doesn't know how to fight. Like Gendry literally was like a blacksmith for like I mean he knows how to use like a hammer, but like even then that's like a different hammer. Like he's using like a two-handed war hammer, whereas like
Right.
in like a blacksmithing like he's using like a one-handed hammer. It's like that
Do you
shouldn't
want to put him in? You want to put him in B minus then?
like maybe it just doesn't make sense because like he feels like such a monster in the show, and it's like it doesn't make sense that he is, you know?
He doesn't do anything, and you can't see him realistically beating anyone who actually knows what they're
He
doing.
literally one-shots two knights through their helmet, and then also like
But they
kills a
weren't. They
bunch of
weren't
zombies.
expecting him. They weren't expecting
Yeah,
him.
but I'm
Do you
just
think
talking about
like
like
if
the
they
raw
had
like
saw it?
strength of Gendry. Like Gendry is like
Right.
very strong and like very fast.
Right.
Um,
But that's all he has going for him. Like
yeah, and of
it's
course since he's
natural.
using a
Yeah.
hammer, like the fact that he's shit at fighting is kind of muffled a bit by the fact that he uses a hammer. Because again, like hammers have very low skill floors and skill ceilings compared to like swords. Like swords are much trickier, much harder to master, much harder to learn. A hammer, you just kind of swing it and you try and crush something. So there is
According to the
that.
show, yes.
Well, no, just in real life. Like in real life, hammers are just like much simpler to use than a sword. Like it's true. The only thing is that they require like more raw strength. That's about it.
Yeah, I get that. Okay.
So Gendry, bottom of B plus or B minus.
I'm keeping him in B minus
Okay.
because
I mean,
I don't want to put him above Benjen.
well, he can be below Benjen. It's just he'd be like the bottom of B plus. I don't think he beats like Benjen or like Tywin. I'm just saying.
Right.
I think I'm gonna put him at like the bottom of B plus personally.
I
Ah, Grey Rat. This is a weird one.
Grey Worm. Grey Worm, not Grey
Or
Rat.
Grey
That's a different
Grey
character.
Worm.
Yeah.
Wait, who's Grey Rat? Oh, Grey
I
Rat's
don't
a
know.
character from Dark Souls 3.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Grey Worm. Grey Worm is tricky because like like he's like a great soldier, right? But like the
Hmm.
reason he leads the Unsullied is because they respect him a lot because of his like mentality and his like mental strength. Not necessarily because he would like take all of them in a 1v1. Not only
Hmm.
that, but like the weapons that he's like very proficient in aren't really like 1v1 weapons. You know what I'm saying? Like he uses like a
Right.
spear, and like especially when he was in like that covert ops mission, I found that like retarded because he was running like they were like we need a small elite team of like very skilled warriors to sneak in here, and then like Grey Rat's fucking Grey Worm is fucking like using a spear, he's running in there.
Yeah.
I was like, "What are you
I
doing,
mean,
bro? Like, just get like a small sword. Like, you're fighting in enclosed spaces. Like, you don't want a giant spear, my dude."
right. I think so. Grey Worm is supposed to be one of the better ones.
For sure, he's above B
He's
plus.
definitely yes, and he's definitely supposed to be up there.
Yeah,
Um,
but we never see him 1v1 somebody who's like noteworthy. I don't think.
right. We know that like whenever his army is charging in, he's in the front lines, like literally,
Hmm.
and
He's
he's
definitely
he's
very
good
skilled.
enough to
He's
take
like,
on.
I think he's like A minus A plus, like somewhere like probably A minus. Like I'd say like maybe like top of A minus.
Okay, I can live with that.
What were you gonna say, by the way?
I'm trying to remember. I was saying that like he could take on like any average soldier.
Of course.
Um, right. It's just like whenever you get to like the heavy hitters, like would he be able to take like the Hound in a straight fight? Would he be able to
No.
take Dario in a straight fight? Probably
Mm,
not.
somebody like Dario is a bit more tricky.
Okay, well Barristan Selmy. He can't take on Barristan Selmy in a straight fight. So
I think he would lose to Dario, yeah, and Barristan by default because I think Barristan and Dario are equal. But
right.
what do you think about versus Euron? That's kind of tricky, isn't
Hmm,
it? Because like
that is
Euron's just kind of like a berserker, and like Grey Worm is very like what's the word I'm looking for? Very um what's the word I'm looking for?
precise, I guess.
Kind of. He's very fundamental of a fighter, you know. He's very
Right, right.
fundamentally sound and like you know, I feel like with somebody like Euron leaves a lot of like holes in his defense in order to just kill people a lot.
But
Um,
I do think Euron would overpower him though, because I think like when Euron is like fully into it, I think like he'll just
I think
I don't
like
know.
they might kill each other in my opinion, but that might just be because
Yeah.
I think Grey Worm is like a really bad matchup for Euron. So I'm gonna put
Mhm.
Grey Worm at top of A minus. I'm gonna put him above Eddard.
Yeah, that's where I have him.
Yeah, I think Eddard and Grey Worm are actually like very comparable. I would give like a slight, like extremely minor advantage to Grey Worm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have
Oh dear.
Hodor. Okay, this is kind of an awkward one because Hodor doesn't fight, so we're gonna have to take the version that Bran wargs.
Mm-hmm.
So that means he has all of the fighting potential of like of like Bran Stark,
Right. I
which isn't a
mean,
lot.
because
He's kind of an idiot. He's
Hodor,
like
yeah,
he's weaker than the Mountain, and he doesn't use any weapons.
like Hodor is like insanely naturally strong. He's just not a skilled fighter.
Yeah, not even close. And he doesn't really know how to use any
So
weapons. And by Bran, like by proxy, Bran doesn't know how to use any weapons besides like a
right,
bait with like a sword.
right.
And like Bran wasn't that good with a bow either. And like I'm thinking Hodor is like B minus. Because like I don't know why I can't see him beating anybody in B plus, but I could see him beating.
I couldn't see him beating Gendry.
Yeah, I
Who do you
can't see
have
him
in B
beating Gendry.
minus?
I don't
You don't
have
have anyone
anybody
in
in
B
B
minus.
minus. I have
Would
Gendry in
he
B
be?
plus.
I don't think he would be able to beat Davos either, because Davos knows
Really?
how to use a sword.
Yeah, but that was kind of shit at using a sword, and I feel like Hodor could just kind of like grab the sword and like maybe he would get a few fingers sliced off, but he would just like knock fucking Davos senseless.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's fair.
I can see like I don't know, I just see him beating Davos, you know.
That is fair. Okay.
So I'm gonna put him in B minus, which is kind of funny
Yeah.
considering the fact that he's like a retard who doesn't know how to fight and he's being piloted by like an 8-year-old child or more like a 14 something child. Uh,
Whatever age he is in the show, it doesn't. I don't know.
yeah. Okay.
Um.
Next we have Jaor. This is a tricky one because Jaor doesn't really fight anybody. except for like specifically he fights some of the crows when they take over that like incest guy's house.
Yeah, but then one of them just immediately like stabs him in the back, so he doesn't really. We don't
Get to
see
do much,
anything.
yeah. This is like too much of an enigma. Did we have any statements from the book? This is why we need like the book, by the way.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. I believe that it is stated like at multiple points that like he is a respected fighter. Trying to see if I can find
He is
anything
old as shit,
specific.
by the way.
He is, yeah.
So we're just gonna wait on him though
So
for a little bit.
yeah,
This is a really tricky one. I could see him being like B plus or maybe B minus.
right. Okay, so some little tidbits I'm getting here. Not much like detail is given. Um, but so he fought in Robert's Rebellion. He fought in the Greyjoy Rebellion. He was knighted, and apparently at some point he did beat a Dothraki blood rider in single combat.
Mm. Wait,
And they say
what?
that he was
So if both
also
him and Jorah
instrumental.
did it, okay.
Yeah, but they say that he was also instrumental in the siege of Yunkai, which I don't know much about.
Hmm.
Oh wait, hold on. This is different.
Are
That's
you
Jorah.
reading
I
on
said
Jorah?
Jorah. Yeah, I said Gior and it gave me Jorah.
Amazing. I was about to say, yeah, if he beat a Dothraki Blood Rider, for one, that doesn't make sense for Jay or like in what he's done, but like also I
Right.
was like, wait, like did that just happen to like both of them? I
They're
was
just
like,
both
wait a
deep.
minute, are you reading about Jorah?
Hold on a minute. Why am I? This is not going to give me anything, really? No, it's just giving me Jorah shit.
Go look up his
It's
like
not.
wiki or some shit.
I am. Hold on. Usually Reddit has my back on this shit. Come on.
Would you say Jorah? Well, no, because Jor is like old as shit, anyways. So I'm thinking B minus. I don't. I think he would lose to Gendry, and I think he would beat uh Davos. And I think he would maybe like 50-50 with Hodor or something.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking B minus. Because like I mean he's feetless, but like I don't. He's like an old ass man. He knows how to use a sword.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's fine.
I think like him and Hodor would kill each other, and then I think like everybody in B plus would beat him. It's like
Mm-hmm.
Tywin's old, but he's not that old, you know.
Right. Yeah.
I
Okay.
think it's like
Because I'm
implied that
like.
even in like Jorah's prime, that Jorah's still like better or something. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, here we are. Okay, this one's gonna be fun. The super soldier, Jon Snow, defeated a White Walker in single combat. Um, was like
Granted,
the
the White Walker
hero of
could have
like
killed him, but it didn't.
it was the hero of like a billion battles, killed like
he
tons of people, can
he
react to
fought like
arrows.
every. He fought in every battle ever.
Yeah. The Battle of the Bastards, he killed a ton of people, even on horseback, and like, uh, against the wildlings, he was instrumental. I think he fought evenly with fucking Tormund Giantsbane. Um, he defeated the dude. No, 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 no. He fought the dude who is stated to be equal with Tormund Giantsbane. Do you remember that guy?
I'm trying to think. Oh, the Thin?
The what? The dude who was like a cannibal or some shit. Why is he not on
Yeah,
this
yeah,
list? What
the
the fuck?
Thin. I forget his name,
He's
but
not
yeah,
on
he was.
this. He's not
There's a lot of
here.
characters missing this. Like I
Yeah, this
mentioned,
is
Corn
gay.
Halfhand earlier, and Corn Halfhand isn't there,
Yeah.
even though he was like one of the most impressive fighters in the history of the Night's Watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like Jon Snow is like definitely a monster in the show. Like he's like by the
Mhm.
end of it, like he's incredibly powerful.
Right.
Um, like Danny basically makes a comparison between him and like Khal Drogo. Like that's how
Hmm.
impressive like Jon is. He kills the zombies are basically nothing compared to him.
Yeah, no, he kills zombies like whatever, like they're
Yeah,
dirtballs, you know?
yeah. I'm trying to think of like his other feats. He beats like other characters in 1v1s. It's insane. He beats so many fucking characters. Like I'm thinking like top of S. Like see, he would be somewhere in S with like Jamie and Khal Drogo probably. Like he's either beneath them or above them or somewhere in between.
Right. Because you have to understand, like, whenever John isn't like on a technical level, when he isn't good enough, he's also a smart fighter, you know?
Yeah, and yeah,
So even if you put him against someone who should just like outright beat him, John would come up with a way to just like stay alive, and then he's like Braun if Braun had more technical skill.
I don't even know if that's like a great comparison. He's more like Braun if Braun was like more athletic or something.
Yeah, and I could see a situation where John beats the Mountain.
Kind of yeah. Um, armed with a long claw, of course.
If the community ever sees this, they're gonna say we're dick riding John so bad.
I mean, he beat a White Walker in like one-on-one combat.
Right. Now, I mean, okay, so the fight with the White Walker though is very iffy. A lot of people say that was like one of the worst moments of that episode
Hmm.
because it had an opportunity to kill John, it just didn't.
Hmm.
Um,
I mean,
but I mean,
John is
like,
like also just like he's very strong as well. Like if I remember correctly, like he literally like broke like many of Ramsey's like bones just by like hitting him.
yeah. And not only that, but John is like he's got extreme endurance because he went through the entirety of the Battle of the Bastards. Um,
Yeah, like yeah, he was being trampled for like literally a minute straight and like couldn't even breathe,
yeah,
and then he got up and he just
yeah,
started fucking killing people again.
yeah, exactly. He's also like super durable. Just his willpower to stay alive
And he was
is
running all over
insane.
Winterfell or what? Uh,
What? Oh yeah. Well, I mean, like he was running all over Winterfell during the Night's King invasion,
yeah, like
but
that was like he didn't even look tired, you know? He was like
yeah, I know.
yeah. Um
So I mean, like he's definitely
he got hit by
yeah,
the bear zombie and didn't like, like he kind of just walked it off. Like he's very durable.
right.
Like, he is just like literally like he is just like in the show he is like a super soldier. Like he shows up
He
into fights and he just wins wars, you know?
he is like the sum of all skills. You
Yeah.
know, like there are fighters that are still better than him, but like he's so reliable. It's like if you put him in almost any situation, he will find a way to get out of it.
Yeah.
So
Like he's basically that guy who's like John finds a way to win, like he's incredibly he's one of the most skilled, like he's up there with characters like Braun and like Jamie and Khal Drogo in terms of like skill, whilst also
mhm,
being like a young athletic man in his prime. I'm
right.
thinking it has to be somewhere like over here. Like he's definitely above we can't compare him to Arya, but he's
No, no.
definitely he's definitely above the mountain, I think. Like, he's somewhere here.
I have him between Drogo and the Mountain. I think that's fair.
Hmm. He has I believe he killed Dothraki um during you remember when they were invading the city and like John just started like killing people because like they were trying to like rape the villagers and
Yeah,
shit.
I think he did kill a couple during that.
He killed his own men as well. And obviously, just during that fight entirely, like we know Lannister soldiers are like incredibly powerful. Um, because like the Lannister soldiers, they did just kind of like wipe out the Northern soldiers when they were revolting against during like season 1, right?
Hmm.
Like during season 1, like all of the Winterfell soldiers basically just got killed by the Lannisters. And it
Yeah.
was like stated by like Arya that they weren't even like trading evenly. That's why like Arya got really upset.
Hmm.
But I know like
Right.
Lannister
They
soldiers
were
are
just
like a
stabbed in the
very
back.
well-oiled militia, and like John's still like chopping them down. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm gonna say John. I don't like these three characters are so hard. 'Cause I think these three are like just like so like they're not stupid. Like they're not stupid tier like like these two where it's like these two are
Mhm.
just like the answers to every problem. Um, but they're like incredibly powerful, top of their verse type.
Right, right.
I'm gonna just put him right below Khal Drogo, but again, like we don't really know. Like the only reason I would want to put him above Khal Drogo is because like I think like they're like even, but like we just see more of what John can do.
Right.
But I am gonna put him like right there for now. You could argue him above Khal Drogo. I don't really care. Like I'm just gonna put him right here in the middle of us. Like I think he's better than these two. I think he's about even with these two, maybe slightly worse than like a prime Jamie.
Hmm. If you go by like what the community thinks, they think that John doesn't stand a chance against Jamie.
I think that's a bit silly to say that because
Yeah, I think
I think
that's
John stands a chance against like everybody who isn't like fucking Arthur Dane with Dawn.
right.
Oh, or like Arya Stark, Night King Slayer. Sorry, because we remember John tried to fight the Night King and lost, and then Arya beat the Night King. So, you
So
know,
there you go. I mean,
Arya confirmed SS. Like no matter what, whatever you do, man. I wish the Night King
that
was
is
on this list
unquestionable.
because the Night King is like a
Okay.
monster.
Yeah. Okay, so Jorah.
Jorah Mormont's a tricky one because he's like a very clever fighter. You know how we were talking about with like John, like with like fight IQ and then like imagination. Like Jorah's definitely like a
Hmm.
type of fighter with like a lot of imagination and like a lot of experience.
Yeah.
Because like John's kind of like an exception. Like John gains like the experience of 10 men within like a couple years because the events of
Right.
Game of Thrones happen. But then like Jorah just has like a lot of experience in general, and I think Jorah is like he's definitely not somebody you want to go against because he could pull
Hmm.
something out of his ass at any time. But also he is like an old man.
Yeah, as I explained earlier, when I was going over his feats instead of Gior's, like I wanted to.
Yeah, he did kill a
Um,
Dothraki Blood Rider in like one-on-one
right.
combat.
And even like way before that, like he fought in like wars, and he was always a respected face on the battlefield.
Yeah.
So and that
Of
doesn't
course, by the time of Game of Thrones, he is a bit older.
right. But I mean, like he still has his courage.
Yeah.
He still feels competent in his own ability.
Yeah.
Um,
He's
I'd
a
put
good one.
him. I would either put him like top of B plus or somewhere in A minus.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking the exact same thing. I was thinking either bottom of A minus or top of B plus, one of the two.
Because
Because
I
like
can see
I
him.
see
I
him
can
beating
see.
Tywin, but I struggle to see him beating Rob.
I think a fight between him and Rob would be good, but I do think Rob would just win.
I'm thinking
Um,
bottom of A minus. You know what? Now that I think about it, do you think Rob would beat Beric? No, no, no. No, never mind. No, that's ridiculous. No, I actually think Beric would win that. Never mind.
I'm gonna just put Jorah at top of B plus. I think that fits,
Yeah,
and I think that's where like I do think like in terms of like the show, he does seem like a very baseline fighter. Like this is a guy that knows what he's doing, and then like
he's
everyone
definitely
above
not
him are
baseline.
people that are like
He's like baseline, but he has a bit of like like spice to him. Because he's like
exactly,
he's a
yeah,
bit like he's clever. He's always like he has that experience with him. Like he's definitely not
that's yeah,
somebody you want to see that you're going against. Because
right,
like you might
yeah,
be winning, but like it's you need to keep fighting like you're losing until the very end against Jorah.
right. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like Jorah is very much he comes off as like that person that just knows what he's doing. He's not like someone that's pushing the boundaries like everyone above him,
Yeah.
but like he is competent. He knows what he is doing whenever he steps up to fight.
Jorah's like that character. Like theoretically, he should lose to like everybody in A plus, but then like reasonably, he could kill them if like he just happened to get like the right opportunity and like they fucked up
Right.
somehow.
Right. Yeah.
All right, let's
Very
see.
much very much like Grey Worm in the fact that he's like a fundamental fighter. And he's a
Yeah,
good fundamental fighter.
exactly. I think if you were to compare him to anybody, especially like a Jorah, um I could really see the comparison to actually maybe not because he's definitely better than Tywin because he's like actually like an exceptional fighter. Maybe not. Never
Yeah.
mind. But yeah, I do like that comparison, or maybe like an Eddard Stark. He's kind of like an Eddard Stark as well, in that sense. Like a
Hmm.
very like he's like older. He's not really in his prime anymore. Like I'm talking about like season one Eddard. Not like flashback Eddard, because like flashback
Right.
Eddard, like the one that was going toe to toe with Arthur Dane would probably beat Jorah, but
Hmm.
like Jorah, like he's definitely like somebody who is very like yeah, like you said, he's very fundamental. He's very experienced. He kind of makes up for his lack of like physical gifts, with that,
Right.
and very smart as well.
Hmm.
Okay,
I
who the fuck is
believe
this? I forgot. Isn't this the guy who takes over the yeah,
yes.
this guy is like
He-
the like criminal who like takes over when the one guy who killed Jayor the one guy who killed Jayor like takes over, and then this guy is like, "Nah, I think I'm in charge." And then the other guy is like, "I'm a pussy, so you're in charge." Oh,
yeah.
that reminds me. Jon
Um,
Snow beat this guy in like a one-on-one fight.
he did, yeah.
Yeah,
And it was, and that was like,
but that was
well, okay,
considered like very impressive because this guy is considered like a monster. Like nobody in the Night's Watch wanted to fight this guy one-on-one.
okay. So actually, this guy was about to kill John. John was actually losing that fight. He held his own for a good amount of time. Um, but he was on the ground and he was about to be killed until this guy actually got stabbed in the back of the head. I'm trying to figure out what his name
Did he?
is.
Can you watch it on YouTube? I think that might have happened in the books, but not the show.
No, it happened in the show because I remember there's a very big scene where like a sword goes through the back of his mouth.
Hmm.
What is his name? I'm trying to find it right now. Aftermath.
Whoa, where did I put him? Oh, F. He's definitely really good though.
Um,
The weird thing is that like I'm thinking maybe like top of A minus or something.
what the fuck is his name? I can't remember.
Can't remember either.
I remember because they made a really good scene. Like he was the best fighter in like Flea Bottom. That was what he claimed,
Yeah, she
and
probably
no one
was.
wanted to mess with him.
Yeah, like like he's like a very threatening person. He's like a Braun. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He reminds me a lot of Braun. Like he's very quick. He's very fast. He's very threatening. He kills people really efficiently. He's not
Hmm.
necessarily like a warrior. Like if you put him against somebody in like A plus, like if you put him against like let's call them like the warrior three, right? Like the very strong, very experienced warriors, like you see like the top of A plus set. Like you see these three.
Hmm.
It's like Brienne, the dude from Dorne, and Sandor.
Right.
Like these are like warriors, like people like Braun and this guy, like they fight like toe to toe and all that, but they prefer just like killing somebody. Like
Yeah.
they're very like path of least resistance. But like people like warriors, I don't like him in a fight against like a warrior. Because
Hmm.
like people like Sandor and Brienne and like the dude from Dorne are like all like very like they're so experienced in like stand up one on one face to face fights that's very very risky to go against one of them. And like they've survived going against so many people who are like also exceptional fighters just because they themselves are so exceptional that I don't trust like a killer versus like a strong warrior. But if you put him against like a lesser warrior, like somebody like Beric, I think he kills Beric.
Yeah. I can't find his name, but
Yeah, that's whatever. I'm thinking like I don't even know where to put him. I think above Eddard. I don't know about Grey Worm. I think he
I'll put
loses.
him above her.
What?
Yeah, I think he would lose the Great Worm.
Okay, so we're thinking like right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, very very risky fighter. Very like very good killer. Like if you give him like a moment, like he'll take everything from you in that moment.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay, this guy. I don't remember anything he does. Not gonna lie, except for the fact that like he's very. He does stuff during the wildlings sieging the wall, and he. I actually don't remember anything. He's stated to be like one of the best like swordsmen in the Night's Watch. That's why he trains them.
Yeah.
So that's all I know. He's like one of the best swordsmen in the Night's Watch, and I can't see him beating this guy personally. I don't know why. I
No,
can't
no,
see it.
I can't see that either.
No, I think he's like
I can't see him beating Barrick.
I can't see him beating Barrack either. Like, what about like Jorah and Rob? Do you think he's like top of B plus maybe, or like maybe bottom of A minus?
Top of B plus, I think sounds a little more fair because
Do
I
you
can't really
think
see him.
B?
I
Yeah.
can't
Do you?
see him consistently beating Rob either.
Well, what about like Jorah?
That would be God. Jorah, I can see him beating Jorah.
Really? Okay. So like,
Yeah.
would you say like bottom of A minus then, or top of B plus? Because like, I mean, like, I'm not saying people from B plus can't beat characters in A minus, but I'm just saying like, where do you think is more appropriate? Do you think he's closer to Jorah, or do you think he's closer to Tywin?
I think he's closer to Jorah.
So he would be like top of A minus or bottom of A minus. I mean, do you think he would be above Jorah? I don't think so. I don't think. I think Jorah would beat him more often than not.
Yeah, okay. No, I agree with you on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna put him in bottom of A minus. Oh jeez.
Gotcha.
Oh, speaking of another character, I think this character is probably gonna be an A minus. Loras Tyrell, really wacky character, has a lot of feats. He loses to Brienne.
Loras,
What?
he's one of those characters that is hyped up a lot, but we don't see him do
Yeah,
much.
exactly. I don't get the hype for. I know he beat like I know like there's like statements saying like he's like a very like good fighter, right?
Hmm.
There are. And like obviously he beat like the mountain in like a jousting tourney, but of course like that wasn't like a typical jousting match. That was like his horse got like horny.
Yeah,
So like, he didn't have like a horse. So like that's not I wouldn't say he's better than the mountain at jousting, right?
right,
Um like when it comes to like Loras Tyrell, okay, Loras Tyrell lost to Brienne. We know he's not within these three, right? Like for sure. I don't see him
right,
beating Braun
right.
either. And to be fair,
No, I
I don't
don't.
see him beating anybody in A plus.
No,
No, I think Euron like kill him and then call him like a twink
I
after,
think
you know.
I think maybe your Loras would be good somewhere between Euron and the Craster's Keep guy.
Uh yeah, I think he's like somewhere in A minus. I think he
Oh,
definitely
I meant between Grey Worm and the Craster's Keep guy. That's what I meant.
I would say he's yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, I think he's probably above Eddard and he's probably above Barrack. He's probably below Grey Worm or maybe even with Grey Worm. Actually, I think he might be equal with Grey Worm. He's
Hmm.
probably at the top of A minus because he is still like a good fighter. He just lost to Brienne.
Yeah.
How did the fight with Brienne go? Was it like one sided or?
No, it wasn't one sided. I mean, they were both fighting on pretty even terms.
I'm gonna put
Yeah,
him at like
actually, yeah, it was just a straight up fair fight. She just straight up won.
yeah. I know. Like I'm saying he's below Brienne for sure, but like, do you think he's like top of A minus?
I could see that.
He's either above or below Grey Worm. I think Grey Worm is like his foil.
Hmm. That's the thing I can't tell.
Who else did he fight in the
But
show? Didn't he just like he was like part of like the fucking like he got kidnapped by the cult and then like the cult was like convert and like we're gonna kill you for being gay and he was like I don't wanna and then like fucking Cersei blew him up and before that he didn't really do anything.
right, they didn't really like in the books he does some fighting. In the show he doesn't.
Well, let's take a bit from the books right now. Like what did he do in the books?
In the books he is a he. They don't show anything specific, but they do commonly say that he is like a respected like I don't know if it's he's a respected like leader of his troops. You know, he's like Rob, as in like he's always leading his men whenever he fights. And
Weird for like a bottom.
yeah, but but like everyone in his like military group definitely like relies on him. They all respect his ability, which of course says a lot.
Didn't he
Especially when
beat
we
a
aren't
couple
given specific.
characters in like a 1v1 or something? Like I know like he's like competed in multiple tourneys.
see. Do.
What are the feats?
See, I'm tracking down the feats as we speak.
Oh.
Oh, here we go. An entry in the versus battle wiki. This will do it. Let's see. They attribute him. Okay. Um. Okay, so they say that George described him as one of the greatest active swordsmen in Westeros,
But then
and
he lost to
that
Brienne.
he did lost to Brienne, though it apparently it makes a note that he is that if he had a long sword, he would be better.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so he's a very competent jouster. He's good with a long sword. Um, and he is well regarded by like all of his military and like fighting peers. I guess you could say.
Yeah, because like you don't really see like it's difficult for a character like him to be respected because he's kind of like light in the loafers type because like he like obviously besides the fact that he's actually gay like there's a lot of there's a lot of characters who comment like oh there's no way he could beat so and so because he's like built like very slyly, you know, like Sansa
Hmm.
was like oh my god the mountain's literally gonna kill him like my like what do I do,
Oh, here we go. Here
and
we
then he
go.
wins
Okay.
so well.
Okay. So he said so during the Great Melee at Bitterbridge, where there was 116 knights.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of the last two still standing.
Huh, who was the last?
I don't know. It doesn't specify. And then if you go, okay, well, this is getting into book territory. But apparently, after Renly had died, Loras went on a rampage where he had killed two others of Renly's personal guard
Huh. Wait, why did he kill Renly's personal guard? What the fuck?
because all it says is that he went into a rage
Uh,
and he had just, I guess, killed them blindly or something.
maybe.
And they said that during the Battle of the Blackwater, he did fight very well, and he is comparable to Garland Tyrell, who is another highly respected fighter from the Tyrell family.
Hmm. I'm thinking like top of A minus, or maybe
That
bottom
is
of A plus.
that that I think honestly either or.
It's like with all these statements, like we don't see him do much. It's like one of those Jamie Lannister situations where like Jamie, we don't see Jamie do anything, but like we know how great he is.
You have to go off details for the books to actually get a sense of how strong they are or
Yeah,
how skilled they are.
I'm thinking
So
like
I
bottom
think
of A plus.
yeah, that's where I'm putting them.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So like we are like confident like Loras Tyrell would beat Grey Worm, right?
Yes, I'm confident in that now.
Yeah.
And I think there might be an argument to make that he could beat Euron, but I don't really want to get into that right now.
What do you think about Euron, Dario, and Selmy? I don't think he beats Braun, but what do you think about these three?
Against Euron, Dario, and Selmy,
Yeah.
I I don't see him beating Dario. I don't see him beating Selmy.
Mm-hmm.
Euron, I think there is a possibility that he could.
Mm-hmm. Go.
I do think Loras would is a smarter fighter than Euron is,
Well, yeah,
and I
Euron's a
think that
fucking
would
like
be
idiot.
yeah. I think that would lead to Loras winning like 9 times out of 10.
There's definitely like a gap here. Like there's like a three there's like a double gap in like A plus. There's like these three, and then there's a gap, and then there's Braun, and then there's another gap, and then there's like these four. You know, like, in
Yeah.
my opinion, that's how I see like this like rank. But yeah,
A
this dude.
plus is very. It's proving to be very difficult.
Yeah, because like yeah, like especially with like these three are such like monsters. They're just clearly below like the S tier. Like the S tier
Yeah.
are like mythic heroes you'll hear in like Tales Forever, and then these three are just like really great fighters in their own verse. And then Braun's kind of like in the middle here, and then these three are like, or these four are like like great fighters, but they're not quite like they don't like these three just don't have any weaknesses. You know what I'm saying? Besides like obviously,
Right.
the Hound's like fire aversion, but like these three just don't like if you look at them and you were like ignorant, you were like, okay, they're very skilled, they're very smart, they're very experienced, they're very large and strong. Like you just there's no weakness here, you know?
hmm
Like when you look at a character like when you look at a character like when you look at another example, like you look at like Selmy, it's like, well, he's old, you know. It's like Braun, it's like, well, he's not like that big, you know. You look at Euron,
hmm
he's an idiot, you know. You look at like somebody else, like you look at like this guy, like you say like, oh, well, like he's not that experienced, you know. Like obviously like in like one-on-one like warrior-esque combat, you know. He's
Right.
more like a killer, you know. Like he can exploit. Like the funny thing about this guy in fights is that like everybody he would probably kill in like a very convincing, like dominant fashion. But then whenever he
Yeah.
would lose to anybody, he would also probably lose to them in like a very devastating, dominant fashion. Where
Probably.
like he would either get dominated or dominate them. Like I don't think like I don't see him getting into like many like close fights, just because like the nature
hmm
of like how he like fights. You know. Same with like
Yeah.
Braun. I think Braun is like the type where if he can't kill anybody like very quickly, he's in trouble. You know.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here.
Like Braun knows better than to test himself. Like if he's
Yeah,
not confident that he can just take care of someone, then he's not even gonna bother.
yeah, like either he's like going in with like a specific strategy, or like he's trying to kill them very quickly. Like Braun, like he either wants to go in with a plan or he wants to kill somebody very quickly. If he has to fight somebody who he hasn't really like planned for, that's like very confident. Like if Braun had to fight. If Braun ran into like any of these three in the battlefield, he would run away. Like I'm confident that's what Braun would do.
Yeah.
Um, and then these are like heroes that would be like sung about, except for like obviously Oberyn, because fucking Oberyn. Like Oberyn didn't really do anything, but like if Oberyn was like a warrior in like a war, like he would probably like have like songs about him and shit.
If Oberyn had beaten the Mountain, yes. Like if had killed him and everything.
Yeah, like and obviously like the Mountain, Drogo, Jamie, John, like these are all like warriors who are like like legend tier, and then like obviously like there are these two like who are like even
hmm
above that. Like these are like top of the verse, like they aren't rivaled in like any generation type.
Right.
All right, so we're getting to the sisters. I don't know which one this. I'm gonna let you take over for this one. All I know is that like Braun beat like one of them in a 1v1, and that was supposed to be like the best one or something.
I think so. Yeah. So Nymeria is the one. Is the first one there,
Okay.
and then Obara is the one right next to her. I believe that Euron actually beat both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was fighting them both at the same time, and he killed them both.
Mm-hmm. And
Um.
then yeah, Euron. Yeah, show Euron is what can we say? Show Euron's a monster.
Yeah.
That's why I think he would beat
And
Loras.
yeah. Yeah. And it is implied throughout the show that Obara, the older one, is also the most skilled out of them.
Which one's Obara? Sorry, this one.
She's the one to the right.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No,
This
no,
one.
like yeah, close
Okay.
right there.
So like, this one's
Um,
probably like the strongest one. So maybe she's like So are you thinking?
I
So for this
I would
one,
put them, huh?
I was saying
For
so for this
Nymeria.
one
Yeah,
for Nymeria,
I
yeah.
would. Okay, so I would probably put. God, that's difficult.
Also, the youngest one
Nymeria.
is Nymeria and the
Yeah.
youngest one equal or
I don't think. No, so Tyene, who's the youngest one, I don't think she's particularly good. Like when it comes to fighting at all. Um, she might be like somewhere in B plus. Um,
yeah? That's what I was
well,
thinking. Is like this
she's
most
good,
skilled
but
one
like
maybe
yeah,
like A minus, and then like like probably like near the bottom of A minus, and then like the other two are in like B plus probably, like bottom of B plus or something.
Yeah, yeah. Like
So
I think
I'm just gonna
Obama.
show this on screen. I'm gonna ask if you like agree with it.
Okay.
Something like this, or even like this.
Yeah, yeah. I would put Nymeria higher than that. Like still on B.
Do you
That
think
sounds
she would
fair.
be
Yeah,
Benjen Stark?
that's possibly.
Maybe like a 50-50?
Just keep her there. Yeah, no, that's good.
Yep. So we're thinking like this probably.
Yeah.
So you're confident like Gendry would beat
Yes.
okay. And then
Yeah.
she would beat Tywin and Benjen. Okay.
Yeah.
But then oh wait, what about this dude though? She might be able to beat him. I think she would definitely lose to Jorah because I could see Jorah pulling it out of his ass, but I don't know about this guy.
I have her above him.
Okay. That makes sense.
I forget his name, but I do think she would beat him consistently.
Isn't he Sir Alistair Thorne?
Yes, yes, that's his name.
I can't believe I remembered that. That's kind of a miracle. Hold on, I have to let my cat out. Hey. Okay, we're almost through this. Okay, we have an interesting one next. Tyrion's lackey, also the guy who follows around Brienne, who obviously his peak is in like season 8 because he like slowly learns how to fight more and more with Brienne.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like he's just like all of a sudden like keeping up with everyone else
He's
in
not
season
good.
8.
It's known he's not that good.
He's not that good, but I mean like
He's
he's good
okay.
enough
Like
to
he
be
learned
there
how
and
to
not
fight.
die.
Yeah, because like
Yeah.
if this was like earlier seasons, he'd be in like D. But like with like
Like,
season 8 specifically, he can actually fight.
I would say maybe somewhere in B plus.
Like bottom of B plus, I think, or like top of B
Yeah.
minus. How do you think she would do against
Maybe
like this chick? I think they would go like even. He might be top of B minus.
top of B minus is fine.
Yeah, be right back.
Who is here? Who else has joined this call?
Me.
Oh my god. We're almost done with the rankings. We've been at this for I don't know how long has this call been going.
Yeah, I think top of B minus is pretty fair.
Yeah.
Ooh, we have Thoros now. Thoros is an interesting one because he can light his shit on fire. You know.
Mm-hmm.
You're
And
welcome.
Yo, Nor. We're ranking people right now.
I do think okay, so Thoros is another case where it's just like he is respected for what he's done before the main story starts.
Yeah. So like his peak is probably in season 1 because he's like old as hell by like the later seasons. And he gets killed by like a bear.
Yeah. I would say he's close to Barrick.
You sure? I think he's definitely better than Barrick. I think even Barrick says he's better than Barrick. Or does he? Oh.
He probably
Thoros
does.
was once put into like a pit with like 100 men and like actually won. Like, and that was at the beginning of season 1. Now remember when he was like they put everybody into a pit, right? Like you know
Mm-hmm.
like the one that Robert wanted to compete in, right? After the jousting. Wait, did that happen in
Yes.
the show? Was that only book?
That was probably book only.
But anyways,
Yeah,
like
it was.
he does
It
get
was.
put into the pit like with like a bunch of men, and he wins because they're like, holy shit, he has like a flaming sword, you know. uh, and obviously, like I know we say like there's like we're not accounting for like equipment differences, but like with like Thoros itself, like that is a skill that he has to light his weapons on fire because he's like so in tune with like uh the uh the Lord of Light.
Yeah.
Somehow. So there is that, you know. Um it's like so like he's definitely like he's definitely like monster tier, you know. I think he beats Grey Worm personally
Mm-hmm.
in like season 1. I think season 1 Thoros beats Grey Worm. Does he beat
Yeah.
Loras Tyrell and Euron though? That's the question. Like it's hard to remember because like a lot of what he did was like in like season 8, season 7, I think, like one of those, he like goes to like he's like the guy that dies, you know.
Yeah.
That's what most people remember him for. But like in season one, like he's like a monster. He's like he's in like the same situation as Jamie and like Loras, as like they're both characters you kind of have to go off of like statements for.
Hmm.
And in like statements, like he's a fellow monster, you know.
Yeah. I
Do you
think
think
there's a
he'd beat
good chance.
Loras?
I don't think he'll beat Loras, but I do think he has a good chance of beating Euron.
That's an awkward one because I do think Euron would beat Loras, like show Euron.
See, I think, because with Loras, I'm kind of like,
Do you think
I
Loras
don't know.
could beat the two strongest sisters, the two
Yeah.
strongest Doran sisters at the same time? Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I think he would be able to pull that out of his ass.
Okay. Um, I think if he did it, it would still be like way higher difficulty than when Euron did it, though.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm gonna put him at like bottom of A plus, whatever. That's just
Yeah.
me personally. I think he is up there with like the A pluses as like a very strong, like noteworthy warrior during his time. You know,
Hmm.
like to me, like that's like the difference between like A plus and A minus. Like these like A plus characters are like renowned for being like how strong they are. Whereas like an A minus, these are really good like above average soldiers, but they're just that like soldiers. You know.
Yeah.
These aren't like war heroes or anything. Like these aren't like known like they will fuck you up type warriors. Uh,
Right.
like that's why I think like Grey Worm at being like at the top of A minus is like the perfect like epitome of somebody who should be at like the top of A minus, because Grey Worm is just like a really good soldier.
Hmm.
He's not like a one-on-one menace that like just wipes out, you know, like plethoras of people like somebody like Sandor.
Right. I agree.
All right. Now we get into Ramsey. Ramsey's an interesting one. Ramsey's more of an archer than a one-on-one fighter.
He is a very good archer, according to the
Even
show.
even when John is like marching at him, he prefers to use his crossbow than like actually pick up a melee weapon. I mean, this could just be because the fact that like he knows John is a great one-on-one fighter. But he does state that he is a good one-on-one fighter too. When John challenges him
Mhm.
to a 1v1, we know he's not sure enough in himself. Uh, well, like we don't even know that specifically because he states the reason he doesn't want to fight John is because he knows his army will beat John's. He doesn't necessarily think he will lose to John in a 1v1. He just says like, "I know you are like renowned for being a great warrior. I don't know if I can beat you in a 1v1. I might be able to, I might not be able to, but I know for a fact my army will beat yours. So that's why I'm going to like not 1v1 you, you know." So
Right.
he knows he's definitely probably above B plus, I think, because like he's more confident in himself than like the B plus characters. But I
Hmm.
don't think he's definitely not an A plus though. But he is
Yeah.
like a great archer.
He's not anything like
Crazy.
terrifying when it comes. Well,
Yeah.
right. Right. He's nothing crazy.
Yeah, because there was the one time when he releases Rickard or Rickon, I think, right? Is it Rickon or Rickard?
Rickon.
Okay, so when he releases Rickon, right? Uh he misses the first shots like on purpose just to create like an air of like fear. Like I think that was stated somewhere. It's like he misses those like literally on purpose. Like cuz he's like such a great archer that he really can't miss from that distance. And then he hits the last one like just to, like drive it home. I've seen
Hmm.
that stated somewhere, but I'm not sure where.
I am checking right now.
But we know he's very confident. He's a lot like Tywin. He's like a young Tywin. Cause like Tywin's kind of
Hmm.
old by the point. Like that's why I think he's definitely better than Tywin. But he prefers to fight in like the reserve. You know, he doesn't like to be like on the front lines or anything like John or anything. You know, or like Jamie
Right.
or Rob. But he definitely likes to prefer to keep himself in like the reserve.
Hmm.
He's a leader, not really like a warrior. You know,
Yeah.
there's
So
somebody
according
he
to some
beats,
people,
doesn't he? It has something to do with the Greyjoy plot. I know for a fact he beats somebody in like a 1v1. Who does he
Who,
beat?
Ramsay?
Yeah, Ramsay Bolton. He beats somebody like noteworthy in a 1v1 fight during the
Him and
Greyjoy plot.
Yara, him and Yara did have a little spat, but there was like people all around them, and they were going back and forth between fighting each other and fighting like the other people that were fighting them.
Yeah.
So
And
I mean,
we don't
like,
really know how good Yara is because I think Yara beats some. I think Yara beats Theon if I remember correctly at some point.
absolutely, yeah, yeah.
No, I'm saying like it happened in the show. I'm not saying Yara would beat Theon. I'm saying Yara beat Theon. Like, did Yara beat Theon?
No, yeah, that's why. Yeah, that's why I'm saying
Oh,
yes.
okay, yeah. And then like, was that poster pre? You
That
know.
was that was pre.
Okay, gotcha. Because like Theon's actually a pretty good warrior. Before that happens,
Hmm.
like Theon
I mean,
himself is
like,
also like a great
competent, yeah,
archer. Uh,
yeah.
and when Umbron what's his name? A Great
Umber.
John Umber or something? Yeah. When Great John Umber like threatens Robb Stark, like Theon is like the first person to like whip out his sword and like defend Robb. Like he was willing to like fight
Oh
uh
yeah.
yeah, Great John.
Now, whether he would have actually won that
No,
fight
no,
is
he
a
would have
completely
lost, but I'm
different
just saying like
topic.
he's
But
very confident in his abilities.
yes,
At least
absolutely.
before the mutilation.
I think so.
And
Okay, we're
like
still on Ramsey.
yeah, we're still in Ramsey. We're scaling Ramsey to Yara and we're trying to scale Yara to Theon. That's the
I think Yara would just like beat Theon. Like even at Theon's peak, I think
Well,
Yara would just win
didn't
that.
she literally do that? Didn't you just state that? That she beat Theon
I'm,
like at his peak? Or are you talking
hold
about
on,
Ramsey?
I was talking about Theon.
Yeah, but didn't they literally fight and like Yara won anyways or something? Did that happen? I don't remember. Like who did Yara fight? I know she loses to Euron, but like who else? I know Yara is like a good fighter. Like she's definitely a good fighter.
Hmm. I'm looking. They might have not. Did they actually fight? I'm not seeing anything on it.
I don't know. Like who did Yara fight? Like can you pull up like feats for Yara or something?
Yeah, I'm
Because that
trying
would
to.
help us with Ramsey and help us with like other characters. I swear to God,
Well,
like
I've been doing that for a lot of them. For Ramsey, nothing came up.
didn't
Just
Ramsey
besides his
like?
archery.
I feel like he beat somebody noteworthy in the Greyjoys. I don't know if he beat Yara, but I have this feeling that he beat somebody good.
There's not much to be found on Yara because like she's not a character in the books.
Hmm.
Um, she's based off of a book character named Asha, and Asha is very much like skilled. She is definitely up there. It's
Wait, who
just
beat
like
her? Yara or Ramsey?
what?
Who beat whoever you were talking about? Asha?
Oh, Asha doesn't get straight up defeated by like. Well, no, she gets defeated by a some guy in the Bolton army, but because
Okay.
okay, I don't know. Like she's supposed to be. She's a show version of Asha. So if you want to go off of that, then she would be like somewhere mid to high A minus.
Well, we're talking about Show Yara, who kills people. Like she kills like grown men warriors, right? So she's
Oh yeah,
good, but
Asha in the books does the same exact thing.
yeah, but I'm talking about Yara.
I know, but Yara is Asha.
Yeah, but there's differences between like them and like the show and like the
There
books,
there
obviously.
are, but that's really the only thing we have to go on because in the show they don't have her do much.
Hmm.
She gets in a spat with Ramsey, which she would have won that if it wasn't for all the confusion at the time.
But Ramsey does hold
Eh,
his own. I'm thinking top of B plus
Yeah,
for Ramsey, maybe or something. I mean, no, he's a great archer. I have to factor that in. I have to keep that in like mind. And like obviously, like the fact that Jon Snow, the super soldier, could react to him firing arrows doesn't mean that like other characters could.
right.
Maybe
No,
like
most
right
people
below
wouldn't.
Rob or something.
I can see that.
Maybe right below Jorah. I don't know something. I think right below. No, I don't know. I can't see him beating these two characters for some reason.
I don't know if he would beat Obara.
Is this Obara?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I don't think he would beat her.
Actually, do you want to take Alistair Thorne, move him down to B plus, and then put Ramsey atop of B plus?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, these are commanders who like are in like the reserve. They don't fight in the front lines. They command, but they are very competent when they do have to fight. Like this is how I see
Yeah.
like this rank.
I agree. Yeah.
Obviously, with the exceptions of like the last two, these two are just kind of like people who like can kind of fight, but also can kind of not.
Hmm.
Uh, Oh, here's a fun one. Show Robert Baratheon, season one. Still very large, still very strong. Although you can't really see that in the show because like they get like a short fat dude to play him. But it's stated that like Robert is still like I remember in the books it stated like Robert is still like extremely strong. He's
Yes.
just now fat and like has like no stamina.
Right.
In a 1v1 scenario, he would still be a monster, but he's like he's just out of it, you know. And like if you
Hmm.
could dance around him, like somebody like a Braun would definitely beat him in my opinion, because Braun would just tire him out and then kill him.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think the same could be said for anyone in A plus tier.
no, yeah, everybody in A plus beats him for sure. A minus is like the tricky one. It's like I think somebody like Grey Worm could do like the same thing, but then when it comes to and like Prime Eddard maybe because like we know for a fact Prime for Prime like Robert is much stronger than Eddard. But like we're talking
Right.
about like fat ass Robert Baratheon. But I don't know if like young Eddard would come up with that plan, and I don't know if old Eddard is like athletic enough to stop Robert from like killing him, even though like
I think
Or Eddard is like more in practice.
so. Hmm. I think Show Ned would have been able to take down Show Robert.
Hmm. But then in the books, like Robert would probably just beat Ned at that point, even
Oh
though
yeah.
Robert's like super out of practice and a drunkard, and like Eddard is still like somewhat active.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like in the books, yes, but going from the show, I think Show Ned would have a really good chance of winning that.
I agree. So he's definitely below the top three, or maybe yeah, like the top four of like A minus. I think when it comes to like being tricky, is A minus, because we're looking at
Mhm.
like Rob, who's like not as who's stated to not be the best swordsman, but he's still like pretty good. He still leads the van. We have Jorah, and we have this chick. And like
Oh,
obviously,
yeah.
yeah, Bara. And like obviously the best thing going for Robert is just like his pure stats. He's very strong, he's very large. Uh he's even bigger than Khal Drogo, and he's very strong. Um
Hmm.
and like if you mess up, he will just crush you. He's kind of like going
Yeah.
against like a discount. Old Robert is like kind of going against like a discount mountain, you know.
Yeah.
Um
What do you think about him versus Jorah?
I don't know, cuz like Jorah to me is like a discount Braun, and that like Jorah like because like just Braun's just younger, you know. Like
Yeah.
Braun, whenever I see like Braun versus like Robert Baratheon, I think Braun would just like tire. Like Braun's very smart, just like Jorah, and Braun would just tire out Robert, right? Just by like delaying the fight and like moving around him and stuff. Jorah would try the same thing, I think. Like they would come to the same conclusion, but I don't know if Jorah could like actually do it. Is the problem?
Hmm.
Because like Droy, like he is old, you know, like he's not as mobile as he used to be. He relies a lot on his armor and his like in being able to like parry stuff, and Robert would just like physically overpower him. So that'd be very
Right.
tricky. Like Robert's an idiot, but he's not an idiot at fighting, you know.
Right.
So I think like Jorah would like try to do the same thing Braun would do, and like try to delay the fight and like try and make Robert tired, but I think Robert would just like overpower him and like kill him, you know. A
Yeah.
trickier one for me like is like him versus Rob. It's like Rob by the show standards is like a fully grown man, you know.
Hmm. Hmm. I mean, I could see Rob. I think Rob would win that.
I think Rob is clever enough and young enough and strong enough to win that. I agree. So I'm gonna put that
Yeah.
here. I think he
Yeah.
would lose
Okay.
to Rob, and I think he would beat Jorah. Nice, Slinky.
Stannis Baratheon. That is
Stannis
a
Baratheon. This is a tough one as well. I don't think Stannis is like anything special of a one-on-one fighter. He's more of like a leader. He's definitely like a B pluser for sure.
Mhm.
Like
He
he's
definitely
somewhere
fits
near.
within the rest of them.
Yeah, like he is a commander. He is not. He if he has to fight one-on-one, he is very competent. But he is not a one-on-one fighter. He did not
Right.
inherit. What the fuck? What the fuck? Holy shit!
What happened?
Like, hold on, I have to get a picture of this. My cat just jumped off onto like a dress, to a dresser. He almost just broke shit. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Idiot.
Dumbass cat.
Slinky, get down from there. Get down from there. What are you doing? Oh my god, what do I do about this? I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. Holy shit! What are you doing? Stop it. Okay. Alright, we're good. He was on top of a dresser that was like 12 feet tall, and I got really scared. There's also some glass on like the other side, so I had to make sure you didn't walk into that shit.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, Stannis. Somewhere B plus for
So,
sure.
I'm reading up on some stuff from him right now from the Versus Wiki,
Yeah.
and during his confrontation with Ramsay's army,
Hmm.
he was able to kill several of Ramsay's men even after being like severely wounded.
Yeah.
So I would maybe put him like top of B plus.
I agree.
Okay.
Because like the fighters in B plus are definitely still better than like the average fighter. I would say like the average fighter is like something like B minus.
Right.
Um, and then you look at wait, what? Does she deserve to be below him? No, I think she needs to be in top of B minus.
That is fair.
Yeah. She's still like a very trained assassin. This guy just kind of picked up the sword. I know he's like male and whatnot, but like, yeah, it doesn't.
Right.
He's
Right.
he's still kind of incompetent.
That
Anyways, yeah.
doesn't jive.
But yeah, like B top of B plus, I think for sure. I think he beats everybody in B plus for sure.
Yeah.
Like obviously Tywin might be like him and Tywin are like very like what's the word I'm looking for? Like comparable, you know.
Right.
I think like Ramsay could take him. I think that'd be like a really good like 50-50 in my opinion because like I think like Ramsay is a bit more youthful and especially if Ramsay has like distance on him, he could like fill him with arrows or like break his shield before like he can get close to Ramsay. And then that
Uh
might
huh.
be like a more close fight, but I do think Stannis obviously is like a more tested warrior, more experienced warrior. Maybe not as creative as Ramsay, but still pretty creative.
I agree.
All right, Theon. Theon is another one of the great archers of the show. Obviously, when Bran was held captive, uh, like they like one of the wildlings were using Bran as like a meat shield, and Theon still pinned him like in the forehead from like far away. You know,
Yeah.
like Theon's like a very impressive archer. He's competent with a sword. I think he's like bottom of A minus maybe. I don't think
I
he
can
beats
I can see that.
anybody in A minus. Like, I think Jorah would beat him. I think fuck, what's her name?
Obara.
Obara. I think Obara beats him. I don't see him in like B plus because I think he's like more of like a warrior and like a commander per se.
Hmm. Yeah, I can see that. Theon's just another case of like it's super unfortunate that we don't see him do much, and even like at the end when he starts to get like the spruce in his step back, when
Yeah.
you start to see that spark in him, the
That's
show
still
just
like not
immediately
his
throws him
prime.
away.
Yeah,
So it's
and even
like,
then, like that's not his prime by any means.
right, right.
Like his prime
But
is in like
it was
season one and like season like before he got fucking castrated.
right.
Uh, so like when talking about like pre-castration Theon, like he is like a very like people do underestimate Theon because of Reek. Before Reek,
Right.
like Theon was like actually a proud warrior. I'm gonna put him at
He
the
would
bottom
have
of A minus.
definitely, he could have held his own against,
A
most
minus,
people.
like the stereotype of A minus is that these are very good soldiers. Like they're not great warriors like A plus, but they are very like competent like soldiers. These are people you want on your side. And I think Theon belongs there.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, Tormund Giantsbane. This is one that could vary wildly, but I think Tormund Giantsbane is like a monster in a one-on-one.
I would want to put him in A plus,
I think yeah, like
somewhere A plus.
A plus. I think like even an argument for like bottom of S could be made. Um, it's like with Tormund, like there is another great warrior type in the Karstarks that he fought during the Battle of the Bastards, and like this Karstark was like he was very large and strong, right? Like, he was
Yeah,
literally like Sandor size, right? And
yeah,
Tormund grabbed him, and they just started headbutting each other. And Tormund won.
yeah,
Like he just they fought like retards, and Tormund had more retard strength. Like Tormund is incredibly strong, right?
yeah. And that was Small John Umber who he ended up killing actually.
Yeah. Oh, is it really?
Yeah, so no, that's like insanely impressive because
Yes.
Small John Umber is held with high regard in the books.
Yeah.
So
And he was in the show too. Like they were like, I remember they were like
yeah,
talking about
they
like
hyped
Rob's
him up a
army and
little
like
bit.
yeah,
Yeah,
they talked about him and like Tormund is probably like pound for pound the strongest character in the show. Like he's not literally stronger than the Mountain, but like pound for pound, like he is probably like the strongest character in the show.
yeah, like he has like like the physique and everything of like just a brutal fighter. Like just
Yeah, he
I
has
don't
like
even know.
very good pain resistance. Like he's
His
not somebody you
raw
want to run into.
his raw stats are good
Yeah, and
in
not to
every way.
mention he is like also a very competent, experienced fighter. Like he's a fucking wildling. Like all they do
Absolutely.
is fight each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah. Like
um,
Tormund, like he wouldn't care. Like if Arthur Dane walked up to Tormund would laugh and try and fight him. Like
exactly.
he wouldn't give a shit.
He wouldn't win, but he would try his damnedest. Like and
Oh yeah, he would be like laughing the entire time he was fighting. I
yeah,
love Tormund so much.
Tormund would be like, "You look pretty strong. Want to fight?"
That is Tormund. That is. I would put him like,
Tormund, he's definitely. I think Tormund would beat Braun.
yes, I agree.
Okay, so like,
And I think he has a pretty good chance at beating anyone in A plus.
yeah, I think like these three characters in Oberyn are like he's in that range. I think he would lose to the Mountain, but I think he would like 50-50, like he's somewhere within these like four characters, right? Like Oberyn,
Hmm.
the guy from Dorne, uh Brienne, and like Sandor. He's somewhere amongst these four in my opinion.
I agree. I would put him. I would put him like just below Oberyn, so like bottom of S tier.
Like what else does he do besides kill Small John Umber? I forget. I know he kills like a fuck ton of zombies in like the end. And I think he even kills the zombie polar bear, if I remember correctly.
Yes,
Is
he
that him?
does. He
Okay.
does. Yeah, and he also fights one of the Thins in Hardhome and wins pretty
Yeah.
decisively.
Yeah, he fights one of the cannibals, right?
And he also fights He also fights
This
another respected wildling commander at Hardhome and also just straight up wins.
Yeah, and not
So
only that, I think he fights John and like John literally just like is like just doesn't want to fight him, if I remember correctly.
yeah, John dips, so he doesn't have to fight him.
Yeah, I think yeah, like bottom of S is like probably right. The only thing is like this character specifically, like the Dornish guy. I don't like it's weird because I think they would kind of like 50-50 each other maybe, or maybe Tormund like 6-4, but they're still like very comparable. That's the problem with like top of A plus because like these characters right here are like just so like great at like fighting that's hard to compare them to like the like rest of A plus when they're also very comparable to the S tiers. You know,
Hmm. Yeah,
Sandor, Brienne, and like the guy from Dorne would probably give every single one of the S's except for like Jamie and maybe like Khal Drogo. Uh, like at least like they would give like these two like great fights, you know.
Absolutely.
Very hard comparing those characters, but yeah, we'll call it Tormund like bottom of S. So you think like Oberyn would beat him, or like maybe not, but like Oberyn just like and him deserve to be on like the same tier, probably.
Right. I think like you said earlier that you saw it was like a 50-50.
Hmm.
Um, and I kind of see it like that. I can see an argument for Tormund winning more consistently,
Hmm.
but I
I'd
think
say
like
Oberyn's more skilled, but like again, Tormund's just like
yeah,
an absolute like he is literally just like a mini the Mountain, but like smarter, you know?
yeah,
Yeah. Because people don't understand. Tormund actually has like a like underrated fight IQ. Like he is like he
oh, yeah.
knows how battle works.
Tormund, like, okay, so like if you look at the moments where Tormund actually calms down, you can tell that he's a very smart guy.
Yeah.
He just has a very like
He just has like no education, but he's like he is actually like smart. Like he has like the potential for like, you know, like
like
greater
yeah,
things.
like go back and watch Tormund in seasons 4 and 3. Like you can see he's an intelligent person.
Yeah.
Like he knows what he's doing. He's respected by
The
God, I
Wildlings.
can't remember his name, but the King Beyond the Wall.
Oh,
He's
fuck, Mance Raider.
well respected. Yeah, he's well respected by Mance Raider for very good reasons.
Yeah.
He's a good fighter, he's a good commander, and he's just a smart person. Like
Yeah.
so,
Do
and
you
when you put
believe
him in
he
a
actually
fight,
made
the
love
dude's
to a giant?
crazy. Yeah,
You
like
do?
and people don't question him on it. They're like, sure, dude.
No, no,
Yeah,
no. Do you think he did it?
I'd like to think he did, but
I
I
like yeah,
don't.
I like to think he did it too, exactly.
I think it's a bit that he keeps up to piss people off.
I want to believe that Tormund actually did fuck a giant, and then he got breastfed by it.
Yeah, just because I'm like I've been on the Tormund train ever since like I first watched the show. So it's like, yes, whatever Tormund says is just fact, and I'm okay with this. Even
Yeah.
if I know it isn't true, I'm okay with it.
Hmm. I don't think there's anything directly going against the fact that he got like that he fucked a giant. Like I don't know. Like I don't. I think that's like up to like viewer interpretation.
You are right. There has never been a point in the story where George has said himself that Tormund did indeed not sleep with a giant. So
It could have happened. Like it can't
it
happen
could
in
have
reverse with the genders, but
it could have
Tormund could
happened.
sleep with a female giant. It could happen.
It very well could have happened. There could be a half giant, half Tormund
Well,
thing
no,
walking
they can't
around somewhere.
reproduce, but
I'm gonna say they can because I think that's funny. Tormund is different. He's built different. Okay,
Tormund did want to have very large babies with Brienne. Yeah.
he did. He did. He's just built different.
He
He
is
can
built
do it.
different. Like, he literally wanted to wife up Brienne just so that his children could be really strong. And imagine the fucking children that they could have.
That would have been amazing.
Because they have like Tormund's freakish like pound for pound strength, and like both of them are very intelligent fighters, and you know both of them are very skilled and like naturally like you know like they can get angry too. And then they have like
Hmm.
Brienne's just like size and like both of their like structures. Like you could have like a man that's like 6'7", you know,
Yeah,
with like their strength. It's like that's very dangerous. Like they could literally give birth like the next like prime Robert Baratheon or something, you know.
exactly. Exactly.
By the way, prime Robert Baratheon would be like right here
I agree.
for
Yeah,
sure.
no, he would be top. He would be top.
Like, he would be yeah. It would just be like the top three for like S would be like
You
Khal
you could
Drago,
make an yeah.
prime Robbie, and then like Jamie Lannister like in any order. I think those three
Yeah.
are definitely like they're like a monster trio. And then you have like show Jon Snow, who's like kind of weird to put in there, but like he's probably in like the same echelon.
John would be able to handle himself no matter what situation he's put in. That's just book John. That's show John's thing.
Yeah,
So
just show Jon, just like he does whatever you need him to. He's just, like
book John too. Yeah.
yeah, but like show Jon is like specifically just like a nightmare on the battlefield. Like he just kills people. Like he's just like have you ever actually like gone back and watched the battles that Jon's in? He just mows people down.
He does. Like it's nothing. Like
Yeah.
he's just he
Uh.
is the main character. He's just
Yeah.
yeah. He's just the main character.
Oh god, the Danny fans are
Dara.
coming.
He is though. I don't give a shit. Like
Yeah, he is
he
for sure.
is. He's
All right.
Azor High, everything, but
Oh well, hold on.
I digress. I
Hold no 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 no
digress.
no no no. You're thinking about the real person who slayed the Night King. Hold on.
Oh, okay. No, I'm sorry. Forgive
Which
me.
one of them
Arya
is an
Stark was
SS?
as well. What?
Which one of them is an SS tier, Clay? Which one is?
Between Dane and Ari?
Well, no. I'm just saying, like, which one is Azor Ahai?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
She
All
is.
all hell Arya. She is SS. She is above John. She is above the prince that was promised. How about that?
No, but she technically is the princess that was promised because she killed the
She
Night King.
is she is, but she's also above that. So
Yeah,
there we go.
yeah. Okay, Yara. Yara's another weird one. Bring up the
Somewhere
book
in A
heats.
minus.
Yeah, for sure. Like for sure, I agree. Like great, like good soldier. Not definitely not A plus. Not anything crazy. I mean, the dude who fucking bitch slapped her is an A plus. So
I would put her between Robert and Jorah. I think she'd be able to handle Jorah.
I actually agree with this placement a lot because I think Robert would overpower her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Pretty much just like an all-around fighter. Pretty clever, nothing crazy. Pretty imaginative, nothing crazy. Pretty skilled, nothing crazy. It's kind of
Yeah.
like a jack of all trades. It
Then
definitely like
Ygritte.
and then Egret. Yeah, Egret's another archer that kind of helps her considering woman strength. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so like obviously she's like a great archer. We're talking like Ramsey and fuck, who's the other great archer? Theon level. Uh, she's definitely a good like close quarters fighter as well. I don't like she definitely would lose to like most of like the wildling like she would lose to the wildling commanders I think for sure.
Yeah.
Um, I think she would lose to Grey Worm. I think she would probably lose to that guy. Um, Eddard. I think she would lose to Eddard. Probably Barrack too. Like we're talking like prime Barrack. I'm thinking somewhere like she's definitely below Barrack and definitely above Jorah in my opinion. I don't know where though.
I'm trying to think of what a fight between her and Rob would look like.
That would be kind of awkward.
It would be.
Robert's the better jouster by far.
Oh, I
Um,
said I meant Rob, not Robert.
yeah, that's why I pointed out the. Oh wait, you meant Robert?
I meant Rob.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying Rob is the better jouster.
You mean fighter? We didn't see Rob joust.
No, but it's stated that Rob is a great jouster by John. Like he says, like I'm the better duelist than Rob, but he says Rob is
Oh,
the
like
better
he's the better
jouster.
jouster. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which obviously horseback combat is like a part of combat, so like that's like skill points for Rob. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and I would say hand to hand, Rob is probably the better fighter as well, maybe. Although obviously like she's the better archer, so maybe Rob is just better overall because Rob also has like man strength.
Okay.
Do you think she could keep away from Robert before Robert like crushes her head like a watermelon?
If she has a bow and arrow, yes. Like
If
if
they're
she
both on
if
horseback,
she,
she's fucked. If could she keep away? I think she would
if
beat
she, if
Yara.
she
I think she'd beat Yara for sure. Like, we
yeah,
agree on
yeah.
this? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, it's somewhere. Yeah, I think she would lose to Rob and beat Yara, so she's somewhere with Robert. It's either she would, because like on horseback, I'm like in like a straight up stand up fight, because like but Robert has more experience.
See, I think like in a straight up fight, it would be a situation we were talking about earlier, where like someone younger than Robert can just kind of outlast him. You know,
Not like,
I
but like
I think she'd
unless
be. I think
hold on, sorry. I was saying like that unless like Robert can just like blatantly overpower. Like they still have to have some sort of stats to where they can hold off Robert before Robert kills them. Like that's why I said like I think like Braun could resist Robert for like enough time, whereas like somebody like Jorah can't, because I think Jorah would just get overpowered by Robert.
I agree.
But like with somebody but like Jorah's not that mobile, but like Yara is very mobile. Yara is like one of the fastest characters in the show.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking maybe I like it's literally like 50-50 to me on whether or not she would. I think it's 50-50. You could put her in like either way with Robert, I think.
I gotcha.
I'm gonna put her
I'm
right there.
personally gonna put her above Show Robert, but
Okay.
I mean, like either way, the fight could go either way.
Yeah, I think that's definitely like a 50-50 right there. So I think this is how it goes, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the characters. Is there anybody else you want to mention that's like not here? That's like, like maybe like Great John or something?
Definitely. Okay, so definitely Corn Half Hand. Um,
I forget who that is. Can
dude.
you remind me like what he did in the show?
Okay, so in the show itself, he did not do much. He was leading the ranging group that John was in whenever they departed from the Fist of the First Men.
Yeah.
And that was when John first met Ygritte, and then the wildlings captured them, and then Corn Half Hand like purposely got into a fight with John because he knew that if John killed him, the wildlings would take more to
Oh, I
John.
remember him now. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that guy
He seems
is
pretty
like,
on par with that version of John, but that version of John is post losing to this guy, so he's definitely stronger by then.
yeah, like Half Hand is
Half Hand's
crazy. Like
A
he is
plus
feared.
for
He
sure.
is feared by the wildlings.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's implied that while like John and him were like pretty much duking it out pretty evenly, he did let John kill him. Like it was not like a John.
yeah,
Like
it,
wait, no, I think it was changed in the show. I think John actually did just kill him in the show, if I remember correctly.
yeah, but like in the books, like, well, can't go off book canon, but
Well, we can only not go off book canon if it contradicts in the show. That's my like rule.
right, because like in the books, it's very clearly stated that like John could tell that Half Hand was purposely not fighting at his fullest, and then like Half Hand even told him himself, like right before John gave the finishing blow, like Half Hand kind of whispered in my ear, was just like, "You have to do this." It was something like that.
Yeah.
Um, so if you put like Half Hand at his fullest, his like when he's actually trying to kill something, you can't escape him.
Hmm.
Um, not unless you're like a freak of nature.
I think he's
So
definitely below Sandor, but he's definitely an A plus.
he's somewhere in A plus.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think. Do you think he could beat Braun?
there's a good chance. I think there's
I
a
like
good
how
chance he
Braun
could.
is such a fucking like. What's the word I'm looking for? He's so important for like power scaling and like A plus. Like if a character is in A plus, the first question you ask is, can he beat Braun?
Can he beat Braun?
Yeah. Because like Braun is literally just this big divide to me. Like there
He
is
is.
the top of A plus, there's Braun who's like a divider in his own tier, and then there's like the bottom of A plus. These
Right.
are all great warriors, and they're definitely all above like A minus, who are mostly just like great soldiers. But like Braun is really that divider. Where it's like I think Braun could beat everybody below him and would lose to everybody above him, like, with like reasonable certainty.
Yeah.
So I would say like maybe like right here or something, like right below Sandor.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any other like notable warriors that we might need to go over in the show? Oh, there's the Wildling commander.
The Fen.
Who's the captain of the cannibals that I think John kills?
I am pulling up his name right now. It's
Yeah,
like I think it's something like Stygier, something like that.
something like that. Yeah, he's definitely like a monster in combat for sure.
Hmm.
He's probably like another like A pluser, like probably like bottom of A plus.
Yeah.
John does kill him, but he does kill like a lot of people, and like even like Tormund was like, if there's like one person I don't want to fight, it's him. If I
It's
remember
that guy.
correctly, yeah.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, that's what Tormund states. Um,
Something close to that, at
yeah.
least.
Did you get his name?
Yeah, it's Steer.
Okay, cool.
Like Styr.
Yeah, so Steer would probably be like comparable to Euron for sure. I think
Hmm.
somewhere like Euron, Davos, or not Davos. I mean fucking Dario and like uh Barristan Selmy tier. Like, below Braun, slightly. Yeah, below Braun, above Barristan Selmy. I think.
That's fair.
Um, let me see here. You want to rank the fucking chieftain of the Giants? Could somebody beat him? I wonder. How would that work if they
Um,
like fought him? Like, I feel like fighting him in a 1v1 is like so like ungodly,
that's
terrifying.
that's so that's so unfair. I
Yeah.
don't unless you were like an archer, I don't think you really have a chance.
I think the only person who could match him like blow for blow is the mountain. Just
And
like
even then, like
no,
if
because like
he
the
just
mountain
steps
is
in the
comparable in
mountain
size to
dies.
him. Yeah, if the mountain fucks up, he dies instantly, of course. But like the mountain wears like extremely plated armor and like a very giant like sword. Like I think the mountain could go for blow with him because the size difference between them isn't crazy. I think the giant is like 10 feet, and then like the mountain is like 8'11" or something.
Hold on, I'm looking. Well, okay. Show Mountain is 6'9".
No, that's no. Oh, that's because of limits to the show. We're not talking
Yes.
about that. Okay, if we're gonna
So
go about like
you
show,
want Book Mountain. You want Book Mountain.
no, I'm going with Show Mountain, but like Show Mountain as he's supposed to be depicted in like, because like they use like angle tricks to make him look taller. Okay,
Okay.
he's supposed to be taller than 6'9". Also, fuck you. He has like
Yeah.
three different actors with three different heights, anyways.
Okay, so it's suggested that he's supposed to be like 7'8".
Are you sure? I remember him reading that he was like 8 foot.
I mean, they say he's nearly 8 feet tall.
Okay.
They don't give a specific measurement.
But yeah, like I feel like if there's like one character that could go blow for blow with the giant, it's like the mountain. But I think the mountain would also lose. Although I think that would be like a really fucking bloody, messed up fight. That would be like Sandor versus the mountain in reverse. Like
Yeah,
where like the
I'm looking at
Sandor
the
is just
height of the
like
giant right now.
Sandor and like the mountain are like clashing. They're both just like big fucking dudes. Like Sandor like stabs him in the mountains. Like, who threw that piece of paper at me? That would be like the mountain trying to stab like the giant chieftain. Like it would be like two freaks of nature fighting, and like the fucking like giant grabs him, and like Sandor stabs him in the fucking trap, and like the giant's like, who threw that piece of paper at me? And like he doesn't even flinch, and then Sandor like the mountain's like, holy shit. Like, what am I against? That would be so fucking bloody and raw.
Because like the giants can grow to be 14 feet tall.
Yeah, but I don't think the giant chieftain specifically was 14 feet tall. If I remember correctly, like he was not that tall.
I think he might have been like.
I think he was
I
like
don't think they
12 or
ever
11
directly
feet tall.
said it.
I
Yeah,
no,
I
there was
remember
a statement
hearing
because there's
12 foot.
a there's a thing online of like the size difference between like the characters, and there's like the giant, and then there's like, hold on, like
Magmar Un
difference
Whoa No Rug
characters.
Height.
Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. One Weg One Dar One. Okay, this is the. I think this is the captain of the Giants, if I remember correctly.
It's the that's the one that's around with John at the Battle of the Bastards.
Okay, let's just assume they're both the same height. Fuck it. So he's like 10 feet tall, or like maybe like 10 and a half, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Ghost
Yeah,
is fucking huge. Holy shit. Uh,
he's a dire wolf.
yeah. But anyways, like as you can see, like Gregor is like smaller than him, but it's not like insane. Like it's not like Gregor would get like one shot. Like obviously if like Jamie Lannister got hit by this guy, like Jamie Lannister would just fucking combust, right? But like I think Gregor could like take a hit from him. It would break some shit, but like Gregor's very fucking like tanky.
Yeah,
Fuck. What the hell is this?
amazing.
uh, but yeah, like very very tanky lad, very strong. So I think he would beat the mountain though, but that wouldn't be like like I think everybody below S would just get raped by the giant. Like the people in S would like last a little bit.
Right.
Like Oberyn would die, but he would actually put up he would last a little bit just because Oberyn does like have that like specific fighting style suited towards fighting people bigger than him, but the giant's just too fucking big. Uh,
Right.
and then Tormund would die because Tormund would try and compare strength and then fucking die. Uh, and then the mountain would die because he's just fighting a better mountain. And then John would die, and then like maybe Khal Drogo and Jamie could pull something out of their ass, but I think they would die more often than not. Like it would take somebody like SS to beat him. Like he would be an SS, I think. Because like fucking show Arya as like a superhuman of like speed that could like stab his eye or some shit with a Valyrian steel dagger and kill him, and like obviously Sword of the Morning, like he could probably the sword, like Dawn could just chop through anything, so it doesn't matter about physical stats because like he could literally just cut through his weapon because the giant doesn't have like
Yeah.
Valyrian steel, but like if we're talking like even weaponry, like even then like like obviously Dane is just such a like badass that like I think Dane like could like harm him really badly. I think the giant might win, but I think Arya would beat the giant. I think it's like a matchup thing where like the giant
Right.
would beat Dane, Arya would beat the giant, and then what am I saying? I think the giant would beat Dane, Arya would beat the giant, and Dane would beat Arya. If that makes sense.
Yeah. It's a rock paper scissors.
A rock paper scissors of a Dane, a literal giant, and then a small child
Small
because the show's
child
writing
beats
is
literal
bad.
giant.
Because she's like too fast for the giant to grab, and then she'd like stab his eye out because she's like superhuman or something.
Yeah.
Uh, like Arya by show canon is literally superhuman.
Yeah.
Anybody else? I guess we could do like Small John Umber and like Great John Umber. What do you think they'd be?
I guess
Is Great John stronger? Like are they about like even?
Great John at his prime was stronger, but in the show he's
Yeah, in the show
older.
he's older.
So
Yeah, so probably
Small
Small
John is
John is probably
probably
yeah
Small John.
yeah. So you'd say like Small John is probably in like the top of A plus maybe. Wait, Braun test. Do you think he could beat Braun?
I think Braun could beat him.
Really?
I think Braun could take him.
So you
Yeah.
would say like he's less skilled than somebody like Sandor?
Yes.
So you think Sandor would beat him?
Yes.
Okay, and as well as Brienne, obviously.
Yeah.
So there's just okay. So he's like a Euron type where he's like just not skilled enough to really like compete with like the top of A plus.
Yeah. I think Old Man Selmy would beat him. So
Really?
yeah.
Okay. Uh, and Great John by the time of like I guess like season 1 or whatever. I guess that'd be like his prime in the show.
Yeah. That's
Top of
really
A
the only
minus maybe.
time. Yeah, because he's like that the whole time.
Yeah. Like, do you think like top of A minus maybe? He'd probably beat like Grey Worm maybe. Maybe Grey Worm
Yeah.
wouldn't kill him. I think like 50-50 with these two characters, and then like he would beat like everybody else in A minus, and then like he would lose to like the A pluses.
Yeah.
Okay, so and obviously if like this character had Dawn, like he would just be at the top. Like we all know this, but like this is like without like weapon comparability. So
Yeah.
let me think. Is there anybody else we need to go over? I mean, there's like that one dude who's on the Greyjoys. He's like the second in command to Yara, and like Theon beats him up in like a fist fight or something.
I mean, like, there's other characters, but like they're so minor.
Yeah, I mean, like there's a bunch of minor characters in this too. Like what? Like I mean, like
Well, I know,
actually,
but like they're real minor. Like,
yeah, they're
you
real
know,
minor. Uh,
I can't think of anyone else I would want to add.
mhm. Oh, there's like the wild MFs that Tyrion gets, like Shaga and whatever. They all die.
They all die. Yeah. Well, I mean,
They
they
all...
don't die in the show. They all live, but
Really?
they write them all. Yeah.
I thought like most of them die in that battle, and then like the ones that don't, like I don't know, whatever. I guess the show
I
doesn't really
think
care about
like
them.
I think it was like a good chunk of them survived, but then like the majority of them lived and did really well.
And then they like go
So
back to like the
Tyrion just
Reach or
kind of
some shit.
yeah,
And
Tywin
the
just
Veil,
kind
I
of
mean.
paid them the fuck off after that.
Yeah, yeah, Taiwan's biggest skill, capitalism. Taiwan with
Money.
money is like A plus.
Yeah. Tywin with money has like his own
Taiwan with
tier
money
above everything.
could beat Braun. I think given the Braun test, I think Taiwan with money would beat Braun.
It's like, can Tywin pay him off? If yes, Tywin wins. Dude, an interaction between Tywin and Khal Drogo would be so funny because like Drogo wouldn't give a shit about money, and Drogo would
Yeah,
just like cut him.
yeah, that's the thing. Like Tywin just would not like can't do anything to somebody like Khal Drogo. It's like it's like a real life example of like if you were to try and like take somebody who's like an extremely like primitive religious type of person and try and like introduce them to some kind of like libertarian, right, like capitalist like dude, you know, who like
Uh
tries
huh.
to buy them off and they're just like, no, that breaks my religion, this is dirty money, you disgust me, and then they like just fucking gut them, you know.
Yeah, and they like rip the guy's tongue out.
Yeah,
Like that's so terrifying. The idea of like the Khalasar just showing up to Westeros because like literally, unless Daenerys herself said, "Hey, don't kill this dude," the Khalasars would probably just wipe out like every lord that they could get their hands on.
yeah, exactly.
Especially if like, because like I was
Either
thinking
that
like,
or they would like put them in the like slave, well, no, they probably wouldn't even put them in the slavery, they put like their men in the
I,
slavery, but they would kill them.
yeah, I think they would just straight up like just kill the like
Obviously, they
lords.
wouldn't take over Westeros. Like you and I have explained this before. We could probably even do like
Hmm.
another video on that. But like, yeah, like obviously, like winter is coming anyways. So even if the Dothraki did invade Westeros, they would still lose
Oh
in
yeah,
the end
like
because like winter would
they
come and then they
wouldn't
would
be
all
able to
fucking die.
actually they wouldn't actually be able to take over, but like the chunk of land that they would grab before losing,
Yeah,
like
would be
everything
yeah. There
in
would be
there,
so much blood and death.
yeah, it would be awful. It
Yeah,
would be the worst
yeah.
thing.
Fucking like you know like in that timeline, Jaime Lannister doesn't lose his hand because he would have to go fight like Drago.
Yeah, in that timeline, like the plot doesn't happen. Everyone just kind of forgives, and it's just like, okay, let's go deal with this. Like
Yeah,
this is fucked up. We have to do
so not
something.
everybody would go to it because like you would still have the problem
Not
with like
everyone,
the
but like,
north, like because like they did just kill Eddard and shit, but like by the time they get over there, Eddard would still be dead, so the north obviously wouldn't give a shit, but
right.
like there would be like a really good unison, whatever the Dothraki first land on they would take over, I think.
Hmm.
Except for maybe like specifically King's Landing could last a long enough time for like their allies to come over. um but like everywhere else, like if they landed in like I think the plan was like to go through Dorne and then like conquer everything up, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly, which would be very difficult because the Dornish are like again like they're very like great at war. Like they like Dorne is like the hardest place to take over except for Winterfell in the winter, obviously. Um,
Hold up,
so
I'm looking at my Westeros map to get an idea.
So like yeah, like it would be like like if they went through Dorne, they would probably lose like a lot of their like they would take over Dorne, but they would lose like a lot of people, and then by the time they actually tried to go through Westeros, they would not have enough men, and then like Jaime
Yeah.
Lannister and fucking Tywin would come down and kill them.
Because if they tried to get into Dorne, for one, they would have to deal with the stepstones and like all of the tiny islands surrounding Dorne,
Yeah,
which are like all populated with people
yeah,
that would have just like shot at them as they were traveling by in their slow ass boats.
yeah, and not to mention like Dorne like is filled with like a lot of great warriors and like they are great at battle strategy, and even like Aegon couldn't take them over, so very
And then
difficult.
yeah, and then you also have to understand that the Westeros Navy is like extremely powerful and
Yeah.
like way more like numbers than them.
Yeah, so like, it would be very like I think the Dothraki could take over Dorne, but they would lose so many men that they would just like if they tried to go upwards, like especially because by then, like Westeros would know that they were coming, and then Tywin would go like, "Oh, I have to go deal with this now," and he's like, "Hey, Jaime,
Right.
come on, let's go kill like some Dothraki," and Jaime would be like, "Okay, bet," and then you have Tywin and Jaime on the same army, like, which is kind of unfair. It just
Yeah.
wouldn't go well.
And not only that, but like a Dothraki horde would be a very good reason for like everything south of the neck to like just join up and
Yeah,
fight.
yeah, yeah. I think they would unite. I think like even like the Vale would be like, okay, we hate you for like what you did to like Eddard Stark, but we are gonna support you for like this specifically.
Yeah, because we kind of don't want to get raped and killed.
Yeah, and we don't want our children enslaved.
It's such a fun scenario, but it's also like so anticlimactic
Yeah, well, I
because
think if they were smarter, they would
it's
probably go through like either they would just straight up try to go at King's Landing and take over King's Landing, and like ideally you catch them when like Tywin's there, so you can kill Tywin.
right. I
Like the
think the
problem is that if
smartest
you
thing.
took over King's Landing, no, that would even work because if you took over King's Landing and killed like all of the Lannisters, then the North would then also join because they're like, okay, well the Lannisters are dead, so we might as well help. So
Yeah,
so
like the
then
people
you're
we
fucked
don't
that
like,
away.
because like the Starks and shit didn't even have a problem with the Lannister family. It was literally just the royal family.
Yeah,
So
well,
if the
like
royal family just ended up dead,
yeah,
then they would
if
be like, oh,
Cersei
okay.
died and uh fuck
If
Joffrey, if
Cersei and
Joffrey
Joffrey
died,
died,
yeah,
yeah,
they would be like, okay, now we're gonna go like help because like the people we
yeah,
needed dead are dead.
right. We got
Also,
our revenge. We're
if
cool
they
now.
raped and pillaged, that means they would probably like rape and like enslave Sansa or something, and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and then Rob
So
is
it's
gonna be
like
like, yeah, we're gonna kill them.
I'm thinking, and it's just like, because the only way that I could see like Daenerys's
There's no
initial
way they would ever
invasion
win.
strategy working would be if there was like a very noticeable amount of Targaryen loyalists still within Westeros that were willing to step up, like whenever
Yeah,
those
but
letters would
even
arrive
if
to
there
them.
were, yeah, there could be Targaryen loyalists, but the problem is that it wouldn't even work that way specifically because there are too many there like they would the Targaryen loyalists would see that she's working with Dothraki and they would be like, okay, like we're still loyal to the Targaryens, but we're not going to work with you because you're with Dothraki, and they're going to like kill and rape
Exactly.
everything.
Yeah. So no, there's just no
There's no
situation. It
way.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where they land. It
It,
doesn't matter how they approach. They
like
just
Khal
get stopped.
Drago dying like to the witch actually kind of just saved like a ton of lives because like what would happen is the Dothraki would get fucking destroyed, like when they get into Westeros, because of like the reasons we stated. Even if by some miracle they did actually just like wipe out King's Landing and like held off the armies, winter's coming anyways.
Yeah.
And like if like they would have to get pushed out, and then they would get pushed back to Essos, and then obviously like the stallion that mounts the world would like rise, and then he would take over Westeros. But like that's like I'm talking about like just Khal Drago's army, like they would get destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
But like, what's the stallion that mounts the world like rises? Like, obviously, he's like basically Arthur Dane with like the fight IQ of like Tywin and shit. Like, yeah, he would win.
Yeah.
And obviously, he would unite like all the Khalasars. So, like of all the calls united, they could win just because they would have such like stupid numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, the Khals did not unite
No, they did not.
because they're like, hell no, we're not going over water. What the hell's wrong with you?
It's like that's fucking stupid. We
Yeah.
don't know. We don't even know what a boat is. Fuck you.
What the hell is this wooden horse you're talking about?
What is this fucking stupid thing? No, we ride horses. That's
Yeah,
it.
exactly. And dude, imagine if like, and especially if Danny had not been impatient, if she had just waited for her son to rise, they could have taken over the Jogas Nye. Uh, and then they would really like,
That would have been interesting.
because then they would take over the Jogas Nye and unite Essos, except for like obviously the Yeti, because like I don't even know if they know the Yeti exist. So like I don't think that would happen yet. I think they would have to take over Westeros before they take over the Yeti.
If they were to go and conquer the Jogus Nye, they would definitely run into ET.
Really?
Yeah, because like the lands that the Jogus Nye, it's like, so you know how like the lands that the cows control connects to like the more civilized parts of Essos?
Yeah.
It's the same way going the other way. Once the land of the Jogus Nye ends, then you're at Yeti.
Okay. Gotcha.
So if they started going the opposite direction, they would definitely hit Yeti.
But could they even like invade Yeti? Because I know like Yeti, there's like a
No.
lot of abandoned like temples and shit, or not temples, but like
Yeah.
it's like a weird
It
like trying to get into Yeti is like a puzzle if I remember correctly.
Yeah, if they went into Yeti, they would be like, "Holy shit! What are these like jungles and swamps and marshes? Why don't our horses like it? Oh shit! Why are we suddenly getting hit by spears in every direction?"
Yeah,
That would be a Yeti invasion.
yeah. So they
The
would have to conquer Westeros first, and then I think like an aged stallion that mounts the world would then come over with his like stupid fucking large army made up of like all
Yeah.
yeah, and then he would like conquer the Yeti. Like I think that's how that would go.
Yes. Yes, he would just be like, "Okay, I literally have the strongest navy possible now. I'm just gonna take over you guys like four frontal,
Because like
and you're gonna die."
obviously by the time the stallion mounts the world takes over Westeros, like I think the aversion to like water battle would sort of disappear in the Dothraki.
It would have to. Yeah.
Yeah, because like like Hegelian dialectics and whatnot, like like a bit of the Dothraki are gonna break off and like adjust to the world around them, and then obviously you have the Jogos Nai at your disposal. You have all the free cities and all of their money and all of their navy, and you have Westeros and all of their ingenious like commanders and all of their advancements in technology and like military technology. I mean, like like armor
Right.
and like citadels and whatnot. And I think
Yeah.
like you just can't. The Yeeti are extremely advanced, but you just can't stop what's coming.
Yeah. No.
I'm
It
gonna go.
okay.
Oh, I'm actually about to get off
Yeah,
too
we're all
because
about to
like
go. Like this has been like 3 hours.
yeah.
I'm probably gonna break this into like 2 videos, anyways. Whereas,
That's
yeah,
like every Game of Thrones video ever right now.
yeah. But like, thank you for helping me make this list. It's about to hit three
You are
hours. Damn.
welcome. You're welcome, buddy. I love you.
Sus.